What's good, YouTube, and welcome to another KaibaHacksDartz Yu-Gi-Oh video. We're back with another deck profile, deck update, deck list, whatever you like to call them, for October 2024, and this is our Arcana Knights deck profile. It's a work in progress, but it still runs pretty decently so far. So we're going to show you what we got so far, starting with the monsters. We got 3 King's Knight, pretty decent. 3 of the Queen's Knight, and 3 of the Jack's Knight. Now, obviously, if you don't know, the kind of main plays these guys do is if the Queen's Knight's on the field, when you normal summon the King's Knight, you can search your deck and special summon the Jack's Knight, which we can use to go into some of the extra deck monsters, or if you wanted to keep them out. So those are our main 3 boys, and there is like the Arcana Queen and like the Joker's Knight. I do not have those at the moment, but something I can add to the deck in the future. Next, we're running 3 Marauding Captain. He's basically just to get out, you know, more potential stuff for extra deck plays. Obviously, when you normal summon him, you can special summon 1 level 4 or lower monster from your hand. So, you know, lots of different cards you could bring out to get those plays done, to extend. Next, we are running 3 Spell Striker. And there's a couple different cards that can be swapped out for these other than just the kind of more expensive Knight cards, you know, Arcana stuff. But the Spell Striker works as just another warrior. Easy to bring out. You probably have some spell cards in the grave. And obviously you can do direct attacks with it, and you take no battle damage from attacks involving this card. So, you know, it's another bonus. You can kind of bring them out if you need to do just 600, or if you maybe have some stuff to beef up your warrior monster's attack. Next, we are running 2 X-Saber Pashul. Some of these, like I said, are just kind of filler, or ways to bring out stuff, or, you know, like in this case, it is kind of stall power. Plus, he's a tuner, so we were just trying out different synchro warrior plays for the deck, seeing what kind of works, and just trying stuff out. Obviously, he's not the best because you take that 1,000 damage during each of your opponent's standby phases, but you can set him, and you won't take that damage that one time, and then maybe you can go off later if you're not using him the whatever turn you get him the first time. For some of the extra kind of monsters that are just, you know, for more special summons and stuff that can be kind of traded out depending on what you're doing and depending on what you're using them for. But we got Level Warrior. Obviously, we can bring him out as different levels, but he's another special summon. Photon Thrasher cannot be normal summon / set, which is kind of a downside. It could be a bit better depending on what you're doing with it, but so it's worth testing out different stuff. But must first be special summoned from your hand while you control no monsters. And if you control another monster, this card cannot attack. So another kind of downside to it. But he does have some beefy attack just to maybe go in for that single attack if need be. And also, you know, extra deck plays, of course. Another similar card, Card Breaker. You know, he's a warrior and same deal. Cannot be normal summoned or set. This card can only be special summoned in face-up attack position by sending 1 card from your spell and trap card zone to the graveyard. So depending on different plays, different maybe synchro stuff, different whatever, we're just trying out different ones that can be special summoned to see what works best for different plays. Next, we're just running 1 Colonel on the G-string, Colonel wearing the G-string, you know. And it's when this card is normal summoned, you can special summon 2 level 4 or lower warrior monsters with different names from your hand in defense position. So, you know, just another kind of weird play extender to mess around with. And then an obnoxious Celtic Guard. Basically a, you know, that X-Saber card. But in a different, you know, it's got a different level. I don't know if the Pashul, yeah, the Pashul is Earth. But it is good to have those different ones for some of the extra deck plays, different attributes. And like I said, different levels. So we're just testing out different stuff. Plus, it just might be what I have at the moment. So those are the monsters. Next, we'll move on to the spells. Like I said, there's lots of spells and traps that are similar vein of that I just don't have, or maybe too expensive, or haven't got my hands on yet. But we do have some of those plays for the more advanced Knight stuff. But we do have 3 unexpected die here. Obviously, you control no monsters. You can special summon 1 level 4 or lower normal monster from your deck. So what you can kind of do is go off, get the queen on your field, get the king with the normal summon, and then get the jack out from, a special summon from his effect. So that's one of just the, the dope ways you can work around stuff. Plus, just for other summons of whatever, depending on what your plays are. 2 double summons. Obviously, the king goes off only on his normal summon to bring that jack out, so it's good to have that double summon. You can bring this up to 3, go to 1. You can try out different stuff like arrivals, whatever you're kind of feeling to get those extra normal summons or sets. Next, we are running 2 face card fusion. Very, very decent card. It is fusion summon 1 light warrior fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material. And if you control Queen's Knight, King's Knight, or Jack's Knight, you can use 1 monster from your deck as fusion material. So obviously, if you only have 2 of them, maybe you just have the Jack's Knight or you have whatever weird plays, you can extend and move around to get into the fusion plays, as well as there's some other light warriors that you could fuse into other than just like the Arcana stuff. Next, we're just running 1 poly. We might be possibly, it depends on how it goes, but maybe trading out the face card fusion for more polys, less or more. It depends on all the different, how the strats kind of go with the deck and how I'm feeling. And it's in its kind of infant stages, sorry. So the polymerization is just another way to get those fusions off, obviously. Next, just a reinforcement of the army to add whatever to our hand, the King's Knight or Queen's Knight or whatever. Colonel on the G string, Colonel in the G string. Monster Reborn. The Warrior Returning Alive, another just great way to add, one of them back to your hand to maybe pop off those plays again, a king or a queen or whatever, or just whatever warrior. This, like I said, a lot of these cards can be swapped out for some of the more expensive Ignite cards. Still a work in progress. Oh yeah, we will set these separate. There we go. Next, we got a Pot of Avarice. Great way to, recycle some stuff, get some cards off. Could have more or less of this as well. I'd say probably not 3, but 2 could be, pretty decent. Just because you get so many of those knights and other warriors in the graveyard. Quick recycle, get some more cards out of it. Can be very useful. Lastly, we got a Joker Straight. One of those, actual archetypal kind of cards, but it is discard 1 card. Special summon 1 Queen's Knight from your deck, and add 1 King's Knight or Jack's Knight from your deck to your hand, so you'd probably go King's Knight. And then immediately after this effect resolves, you can normal summon 1 monster. So you'd normal that King's Knight, and then you could get the Jack's Knight out of deck. And you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn, except Light Warrior monsters, obviously. And during the end phase, if this card is in your graveyard, you can target 1 Light Warrior monster in your graveyard, shuffle it into the deck, and if you do, add this card to your hand. So it's a great way to recycle them and get to them quicker. There's a lot of these good cards that are the more expensive-y kind of stuff or kind of rare, like the Joker Straight, or, the Bowers, I forget what they're called, or the Arcana Queen and such in the Joker Knight. So it'd be nice to get possibly more of those or some of the other cards in there as well, like I've mentioned. Next, we got the traps. We are running 2 Compulse. A lot of these are just kind of slight filler, just, good cards that can fit in any deck, generic-y kind of filler until I get some of those better cards. But the Compulse is G, plus you could maybe get your king out and then compulse your own king and then do it again to maybe get some more Jack's Knights out there to possibly play Extend more. Next, we are running 1 Joker's Wild, another one I could have more of, it's another one of those rare ones. During the main or battle phase, send 1 spell from your deck to the graveyard that specifically lists all of the Queen's Knight, King's Knight, Jack's Knight, and this effect becomes that spell's effect. So it's pretty good for, obviously, if you want basically more than 3 copies of something, or if you just want options to go into different stuff from your deck. Great card. And then during the end phase, if this card is in your graveyard, you can target one Light Warrior monster and shuffle it into the deck and add this card to hand. So basically the same thing as the Joker Straight. Great way to recycle those Night monsters plus other Light Warriors. And you can use the card again. Like I said, another one possibly that I'd like to run a lot more of. Wabaku, self-explanatory, you know, just kind of some stall power. Another one of these beautiful cards, Court of Cards. If you control no monsters or only control Queen's Knight, King's Knight, and Jack's Knight, you can special summon one King's Knight, Queen's Knight, or Jack's Knight from your hand or graveyard, and you can banish up to one each of the Knights and from your hand or graveyard and draw the same number of cards you banished. So I think depending on how you kind of the speed of your deck and how you speed it up and how you got it going, this could be better or worse. I think, you know, if it's a bit faster paced of a deck and you're not too worried about having to recycle those cards, it'd be better to just go in for the, you know, the plays. And obviously it's a continuous, so it's kind of cool, but it could be worth it to run more. Lastly, we just got one Rivalry of Warlords. We, I'm pretty, for the main deck at least, it's all Warriors. I think in the extra deck there might be one or two that aren't. So, I mean, you know, it's whatever. And plus, we're not going to be pulling it too often because we only have one of it in the deck. But I figured it just kind of helps out. And might as well. For the extra deck, we are running 2 Arcana Extra Joker. And it is 3 warrior monsters with different names, so obviously you're 3 different knights. Or it's great just for going into from the different random warriors we can kind of go off with. And there's obviously lots of different options for the extra deck. I just don't have too much at the moment, but I'm working to piece it together. And it's once per turn when a spell/trap card or monster effect is activated that targets this face-up card on the field, or a monster this card points to. Quick effect, you can discard the same type of card, monster, spell, or trap, and negate the activation. And when this link card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, which doesn't happen too often, you can special summon one level 4 warrior normal monster from your deck, and if you do, add one level 4 warrior monster from your deck to your hand. So obviously you'd use that to go into you know, your queen, and then get your king probably to your hand, so you can redo the play once again. But who knows, it depends what the situation calls for. So like I said, 2 of those. Next, we're just running 1 Decode Talker. This is one of those ones that isn't a warrior, obviously, but still has its uses, and can go into it with different stuff, the 3 knights or whatever. Or no, not the 3 knights, because, you know, one of them's an effect, but, you know, the two of the knights and maybe another effect monster. Next, we have Castell. Pulling out the level 4s all at the same time can be a little difficult, but yeah, you know, it's still useful because there is a little less level 4 power. It could be beefed up a bit, but still a useful card. Next, because we do have the Pashul, we're just throwing in a Goyo Guardian. You know, 1 Earth Tuner, 1 non-tuner monster, and then we could maybe take control of some monsters that we take. You never know when they got something kind of low out there. Next, we just got an X-Saber Wayne. Like I said, I don't have too much to throw in the deck, but I figured this is just another way to maybe get out another monster to activate some kind of effects to pop off. Just working with different ideas. For the fusions, we're running 2 Arcana Knight Joker. This is Queen's Knight, Jack's Knight, and King's Knight. And a fusion can only be done with the above materials. And once per turn, when a spell/trap card or monster effect is activated, it's the same thing as, you know, the Arcana Extra Joker. You know, you can stop it by discarding the same stuff. Basically, the only difference is that he has 1,000 more attack. The Extra Joker has 28. So, you know, it's basically an attack difference going into the fusion play. That's why it's, you know, it could go either way of keeping the fusions or not keeping the fusions, or going harder into different sides. Then next, and lastly, we got the Guilty Gearfried, the Magical Steel Knight. It's 2 warrior monsters with different attributes. So we basically, I think, only have light and earth. But, you know, you could switch that up depending on how often you use this card or different stuff. And once per turn, when a card effect is activated that targets this card, you can negate that effect. And if you do, it's a quick effect. And destroy one card on the field. If this card was fusion summoned using only monsters on the field as material, it can make a second attack during each battle phase. And once per turn, if this card battles an opponent's monster during damage calculation quick effect, you can banish one spell from your graveyard, and this card gains attack equal to half its current defense until the end of this turn. So, lots of uses on him. He's almost kind of a smaller version of the Extra Joker and Night Joker, where you're using a little less, but can still get out something pretty formidable. And overall, I think it's a pretty decent card. I'd like to know what kind of ideas you guys have for the extra deck. I know obviously I can get like the Bowers and the Arcana Queen and the Joker, like I've mentioned, which is some stuff that I could use to beef up. But overall, it's just using those cards, kind of going into the special summons. And, you know, getting out those kind of Arcane extra, you know, or Night Joker or whatever. Those extra deck monsters. But so far, it runs half decently. I think there's some stuff I could do to boost it up just with some of the average cards. But it's just, you know, testing it out and trying different stuff at this point. Seeing what works and what doesn't and what I like. Like I said, let me know if you have any suggestions in the comments. And, you know, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Check out my other deck profiles. Hit up my, you know, DIY projects. We're recreating Dungeon Dice monsters right in the middle of that for the cheap everyday player who maybe wants to try it for themselves. You know, without spending a bunch of money. You know, we're doing lots of different series, pack openings, stuff like that. So, like I said, make sure to check out all that stuff. Hit that little notification bell so you know when future stuff's coming out. And otherwise, thanks for watching. Peace. What's good, YouTube, and welcome to another KaibaHacksDartz Yu-Gi-Oh video. Today we're coming at you with another deck list, deck profile, deck update, whatever you like to call it. And today this is going to be our Elemental Hero Flash deck. Now, if you don't know Hero Flash, it is remove from play these cards in your graveyard to activate this card. And you need to remove H, Heated Heart, E, Emergency Call, R, Righteous Justice, and O, Oversoul, and special summon one Elemental Hero normal monster from your deck. In this turn, Elemental Hero normal monsters you control can attack your opponent directly. So you're basically trying to get in with some big direct attacks, you know, using your Elemental Hero normal monsters. So we'll start off with the normal monsters. We got one Sparkman, one Burstinatrix, one Clayman, and two Avion. Now, of course, these can be kind of switched up depending on what fusion monsters you're using and such. But we're just trying to keep one of each of them kind of run at least. Next, this is going to be your big piece, of course, Elemental Hero Neos. Now, using your Hero Flash, you can go in for some big damage. And there's some other cards that can help out with some big plays. Some of them I do have, some of them I don't have, but overall you can go in for some big damage, you know, 25 plus whatever else you got on the field. You know, you can do some big stuff with that. Coming in next, we got two Bubble Man. You know, he's just good little way to get a monster out. And you know, you might be able to get two cards off that. So, you know, it's possible draw support. A lot of these I'm still kind of working with, seeing what works well. I feel like this deck could be optimized a lot more. Next, we got two Stratos. And of course, when this card is normal or special summoned, you can select and activate one of these effects. Destroy a spell or trap card up in the field up to Elemental Hero monsters. And, you know, Destiny Hero and Evil monsters. And add one Elemental Hero, Destiny Hero, or Evil Hero monster from your deck to your hand. So, you know, he's a good way to search out whatever stuff we may need. He's pretty dope. You know, check it if you haven't seen that alti art. Pretty dope as well. Next, we got a Blaze Man. Just one. I'd like to probably up the number of Blaze Men. It's kind of got a long effect, but I'll read it off here for you. this card is normal or special summon, you can add 1 polymerization from your deck to your hand, so that's already pretty good. During your main phase, you can activate this effect. You cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except fusion monsters. Also, send 1 elemental hero monster from your deck to the graveyard, except Blazeman, and if you do, this card's attribute and attack defense become the same as that monster sent to the graveyard. So he's a good way to, you know, go into the different ones that need that different attribute, like a fire monster or whatever. Or, well, not a fire monster, because he already is a fire monster, but, well, you could still use him, but you know what I mean. So you could change him up to whatever. Also, it gets a elemental hero in the grave if you're doing some plays with that. So like I said, I'd probably get that up to like 2 or 3 of him. Next, we're trying out a elemental hero, Spirit of Neos. Now, I really like this card. It's when your opponent's monster declares an attack, you can special summon this card from your hand in defense position, and if you do, it cannot be destroyed by battle. If this card is special summon, you can add from your deck to your hand 1 polymerization or 1 speller/trap card that mentions an elemental hero monster's card name. During your main phase, you can shuffle... I'm sorry. During your main phase, you can shuffle this card into the deck, and if you special summon 1 elemental hero normal monster from your deck. So, you know, good way to go into Neos. Good way to stall out. He's kind of like a battle fader, but he doesn't end the battle phase, you know what I mean? So I'd maybe like to run more of him, just kind of test him out, seeing how it works. Next, for just more filler, we kind of got a Vision Hero Vion here. And it's if this card is normal or special summon, you can send 1 hero monster from your deck to the graveyard. You can only use this effect of Vision Hero once per turn, or Vision Hero Vion, sorry. And once per turn, you can banish 1 hero monster from your graveyard to add 1 polymerization from your deck to your hand. So, you know, obviously, this is kind of just another way to go into polymerization, and he's just another monster with hero in his name. Plus, he's dark if you were going off for some of those plays. Next, we have a Neo Space Connector. Another way to just kind of get that, that Neos on the field, even though he is in defense. But it could be a way that you could use just to kind of extend into some different plays. Next, we're running a U-Bell. Now, this isn't really to actually get it specifically on the field, but this is so we can fuse to bring out the elemental hero Neos Kluger. So basically, we just want to get that U-Bell in hand or possibly in grave somehow, and you know, get out the Kluger to do some beefier damage. But we'll look at that kind of later. So the U-Bell. Next, we got a Neos Wise Man to go off of the Kluger once he goes down. Once again, just kind of testing out some of those different plays, seeing what works well, because I know I'm going to have to get in some other damage other than just Hero Flash, even if I do get like a, you know, a Honest Neos, which I do want to get some in the deck, or, you know, maybe another Stratos and some Blazemen and stuff like that. But like I said, this works pretty well for some of the plays I'm trying out. Next, we got, like I said, the main kind of card that's making stuff go down, the Hero Flash. Already mentioned what that did. And I like to run 2 of each of the letters, but I would probably up it either in terms of the E or the O up to a 3. But 2 is good of each to start. And the H is target 1 face-up monster you control until the end of this turn. Gains 500 attack, and if it attacks the defense position monster, inflict battle piercing. So it is another way to get in some damage, plus a little bit of boost on an attack. One card I do not have that I would like to have in the deck is Foolish Burial Goods. Just so you can get one of these in, 1 or 2 of these into the graveyard without even having to go through the hassle, just kind of get it through the deck. But next we got E Emergency Call, 2 of these, like I said, and it's just add 1 elemental hero monster from your deck to your hand. So this can be pretty good for a lot of the different monsters or whatever plays you're trying to pull. Next is 3 Righteous Justice. I did, like I said, I have at least 2 of each, and the 3rd Righteous Justice is just until I get a E or an O to fill in some spots. But it's basically just an MST up to the number of elemental hero monsters you control. So it's not too bad of a card. Like I said, it's probably going to get swapped out, at least the 3rd one, for something else. Next, we got 2 of the O Oversoul. And that's target 1 elemental hero normal monster in your graveyard and special summon that target. So maybe if you got the Vion, you could send something to your graveyard and then get it on the field. Next, we got 2 Miracle Fusion. Obviously, just to get into those different fusion monsters using stuff in your graveyard. Next, we're rocking 2 Polymerization. Same stuff, but, you know, hand and field. 1 Reinforcement of the Army, the card I can never remember the name of. But obviously, you know, checking that out, seeing how it works. A Hero Lives. You know, it's kind of a risky card, but it's worth trying out. I don't know if I'd run more of them, but it's worth running. Fifth Hope, just an interesting card, some draw power, and who knows if it's that kind of situation where you got nothing else, then 3 cards. Next, a Miracle Contact. And I think this just can be a good little way to recycle some stuff back into the deck, if need be. Like I said, just trying it out. And then just a classic Monster Reborn. Lastly, we just got a Magic Cylinder and a Wabaku. Like I said, I just got some kind of filler cards. For, you know, cards maybe like Unexpected Die, or like I said, some more of the letter cards, or Foolish Burial Goods, stuff like that. But I figure it's a way to get some damage in, and then it's a stall. You know, I might trade it out for 2 Magic Cylinders, could be 2 Wabakus, depends on how it is right now. Or I might find something else to throw in. Those are mostly just kind of filler. And then what we got for the extra deck so far is 2 Sunrise. And he's just 2 hero monsters with different attributes. So like I said, you got to do those different tech to kind of get into him. And he's a pretty decent little card. Next, we got 2 Elemental Hero Nova Master. A lot of these can just be generic kind of stuff that you can use to fill in whatever monsters you have or whatever kind of plays you're going for. But I figure they are some filler. They have some stuff that I can go into. This card is something I'm definitely feeling, the Hero Mariner, because you can attack directly with this card if you got something set. So I think it does kind of go well with the deck, especially if you're maybe hitting them with the H. You could go in for that 1900, or if you got some other plays to boost them up. So I'd like to maybe get more of him. We got a Vision Hero Trinity. You know, just some more generic kind of stuff. We got 1 Tempest. Rocking 1 Gaia. And the Neos Kluger. Like I said, he's kind of just the weird play of the deck with the Ubel and stuff. But he can get in that beefy damage, especially if they have something with a lot of attack. Say they bring out like 5-headed dragon, you're Wabakuing or something till the next turn. And then you hit them with this and they take, you know, 5,000 on that. And then you can go in with something else. Maybe you got the Hero Flash ready, the Mariner or something. And you can maybe go in with some even more damage. But when he leaves the field because of your opponent doing something to him, you can special summon 1 Neos Wise Man from your hand or deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. So that's why I got the Wise Man in there. Mostly he's kind of a Garnet in a way that you don't want him in the hand, but even if he is in the hand, you can still summon him with the Kluger. And that pretty much covers it. Like I said, the plays can get a bit bigger, especially if I get some Honest Neos and you know, some more kind of extra deck monsters like the Link Heroes, the extras. You know, maybe Brave Neos and like Neos Knight to work more stuff with Neos in there. And like I said, I think the deck's coming along pretty well so far. I think it runs decently. Let me know what you think, though. I think the hero deck runs. The Hero Flash is pretty interesting. You know me, I like my direct attack stuff. And whatever way you can kind of make that work, I think if you can combine that and maybe get the Mariner more active, keep bringing the Mariner out, you know what I mean, and you make sure you have cards set, then it is possible you can do a lot more damage in one turn. Maybe bring out a couple Mariners, you know what I mean, and then also Hero Flash and hit in with some big Neoses or whatever. But I think the Hero Flash deck is pretty cool. I think it's pretty fun. You know, the different letters. I always like those kind of things that come together, like Exodia, you know, the Gate Guardian, that have like the different pieces you got to work. You know, the Destiny board, stuff like that, coming together to do, you know, something big. This is the kind of deck to do that. You know, it's real fun, and the elemental heroes are just, you know, so they're the cherry on top. So if you like it, and, you know, if you have any things you think I should add or, you know, take out or work with, let me know in the comments. Of course, I'm working on the deck, going to try and build it up. I'll probably be back with another deck update at some point for it, especially if you guys are interested in it. But like I said, let me know how you feel about it. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you like the video. Hit that little notification bell so you know when new videos are coming out. We got all kinds of content on the channel. And thanks for watching. Peace. What's good, YouTube, and welcome to another KaibaHacksDartz Yu-Gi-Oh video. And today we're back at it again with another deck profile, deck list, deck update, whatever you prefer to call it. And this is our Gunkan Suship deck for July 2024. Now, these are some pretty dope cards. You know, I like sushi myself, so, you know, Suships, you know, they are sushi ship cards. And the gimmick of the deck, relatively, is to bring out different Xyz monsters that gain different effects depending on which of the sushi you use to bring them out. So with that in mind, you know, we'll head straight into it. And first we start off with the Gunkan Suship Shari. We're running 3 of them, of course. They are pretty crucial to the extra deck monsters. You pretty much need this guy for everything. And, you know, he's got 2,000 attack and one of the longest card text, if not the longest, I believe, in the game. You know, it's worth checking out. I won't read through it because it's kind of a book, but 3 of him. Next, we got 3 of the Gunkan Suship Shari Red. And it is, this card's name becomes Gunkan Suship Shari while in the hand, deck, graveyard, or on the field. And you can only use the effect of Gunkan Suship Shari once per turn. Or Shari Red, sorry. You can reveal one other Gunkan Suship Shari in your hand and special summon this card from your hand. Then you can apply this effect. Special summon one Gunkan monster from your deck except Gunkan Suship Shari, but negate its effects, if any. Then special summon from your extra deck one Xyz monster that mentions the special summon monster's name, using that monster and this card as material. And it is treated as an Xyz summon. So he's also a pretty crucial part to the deck. Very useful. And decent on the defense. Next we are running 3 Gunkan Suship Akira. And it is, if you control Gunkan Suship Shari, you can special summon this card from your hand. So obviously you can do that with red. And you can only special summon the Gunkan Suship Akira once per turn this way. During your main phase, you can excavate the top 3 cards from your deck, and if you do, you can either add to your hand or special summon one excavated Gunkan Suship Shari. Also shuffle the rest into your deck, and you can only use the effect of Gunkan Suship Akira once per turn. So it is a way to pop off extensively if things happen to align. Next, we are running 3 Gunkan Suship Shirayu. I'm not actually sure how you say it, but, you know, and it's, if you control a Gunkan Suship Shari, or an Xyz monster that has Gunkan Suship Shari as material, you can special summon this card from your hand, and during your main phase, you can special summon one Gunkan monster from your hand, except Shirayu. Shirayu? Maybe that's how you say it, sorry, yeah, I think so. Then, you can take any number of Gunkan Suship Shari from your deck or graveyard and place them on top of your deck in any order. You can only use the effect of Gunkan Suship Shirayu once per turn. So, pretty decent. And you can line it up with some other stuff to get a lot of Sharis going, obviously. Next, we are running 3 Gunkan Suship Uni. And this is, you can reveal one other Gunkan card in your hand and special summon this card from your hand, then apply the following effect based on the revealed card. If it's a Shari, you can special summon the revealed monster. Other, place the revealed card on the bottom of the deck. You can target one Gunkan monster you control and change its level to 4 or 5. Then you can add one Gunkan Suship Shari from your deck to your hand. So, you know, lots of ways to kind of go into the reds and the normal. And to, you know, just pop off in different ways with that level change. Next, we have 3 star drawing. And it is, if this card is used for an XZ summon, you can treat it as a level 5 monster. So obviously, you know, it's good to go off with those level 5 plays. And an XZ's monster that was summoned using this card on the field as material gains this effect. If it is XZ summoned, draw 1 card. So, you know, it's a little bit of draw power, plus an easy way to get into more stuff. So 3 of those, like I said. Lastly, we're running 2 Perform Age Hat Tricker. Just kind of another level 4 here, and it is, if 2 or more monsters are on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. And when a card or effect is activated that would inflict damage to you, quick effect, you can place 1 counter on this card, Perform Age counter, max 3, then make that effect damage you took 0, and when the 3rd counter is placed on this card, its attack and defense become 3,300. So, you know, you could maybe build up to that, if possible, but, you know, depending on what deck they're running, or if you had some other kind of weird plays, but it is just a good way to get at an extra monster for those link plays. Moving on to the spells, we are running 3 Gunkan Sous Shipyard Seaside Supper Spot. It's a mouthful, and it's a field spell, and it's once per turn. If you normal or special summon a Gunkan Sous Ship monster, even during the damage step, you can place 1 Gunkan card from your deck on top of your deck. And once per turn, if a face-up Gunkan monster you control that was special summoned from the extra deck is sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card, activate this effect. Your opponent pays life points equal to the number of that monster's defense in the graveyard, then you can apply this effect. Special summon 1 Gunkan Sous Ship Shari from your hand, then special summon 1 Gunkan XZ monster from your extra deck by using that card you control as material. So pretty decent. Next, we move on to 3 of the Gunkan Sous Ship Catch of the Day. It's a continuous, and it's once per turn you can reveal 1 Gunkan Sous Ship Shari in your hand and place 1 counter on this card. And if you do, reveal 1 Gunkan XZ's monster from your extra deck, and your opponent declares 1 Gunkan card monster name except Gunkan Sous Ship Shari that is mentioned on any Gunkan XZ's monster, then you can add that declared card from your deck to your hand. If you cannot add, shuffle this card into the deck. If this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, your opponent pays exactly 500 life points for each counter on this card. So it is a weird way to get in some damage, plus just some kind of fun tech on there. Next, we're running into some of the singles, and we got Pot of Avarice, you know, just to recycle up a bit. Monster Reborn, you know, obviously just to bring something back. We got Cosmic Cyclone, could be switched out for something else, but, you know, just some removal power. And Harpy's Feather Duster. Moving on to the traps, we are running 3 Gunkan Sous Ship Daily Special, and it is when this card is activated, or when you activate this card, sorry. You can also reveal 1 Gunkan Sous Ship Shari in your hand, reveal 3 Gunkan monsters from your deck, and your opponent chooses 1 of them for you to add to your hand. Also shuffle the rest into your deck. If you revealed Gunkan Sous Ship Shari in your hand at activation, you can choose this card. You can choose the card to add to your hand instead of your opponent choosing, sorry. If this card is in your graveyard except the turn it was sent there, you can banish this card, then target 3 Gunkan monsters in your graveyard and shuffle them into the deck, then draw 1 card. So it is just kind of a less Pot of Avarice, but you know, it's something. Oh, something here, sorry. Oh, moving on, we got 2 Quantum Cats, and this is you know, basically just a little bit of defense power if need be, but also for those link plays. So, you know, it works in pretty basically, you know, you're just declaring 1 monster type and an attribute, and then you're getting that monster out there, level 4, 2200 defense, so it's not too shabby. And like I said, it's decent for those link plays. Coming in next, we got a Tiki Curse and a Swamp Mirror. And these are just kind of teching in, trying out different things. But it is special summon this card as an effect monster. And it's got 1800 attack and 1000 defense. And while this card is an effect monster, if another trap card that is a monster battles an opponent's monster after damage calculation, destroy that opponent's monster. So, you know, you can kind of work it with some other things if that happens to go through. Or if you got some other kind of cards going with it. And same thing with the Swamp Mirror. Lastly, just for some one-offs, we got Back to the Front, Drowning Mirror Force, and Call of the Haunted. You know, just for some bring-back plays and a little bit of destruction. Moving on to the extra deck, we're running 3 Gunkan Suship Shiraru class carrier. I can never remember how to say it. 2 level 4 monsters. And it's if this card is XE summoned, you can apply these effects in sequence based on the materials used. You can only use the effect of Gunkan Suship Shiraru, mouthful, once per turn. Gunkan Suship Shari, draw 1 card. Gunkan Suship Shiraru, add 1 Gunkan spell/trap from your deck to your hand. And while this card is face up in a field zone, Gunkan monsters you control, special summoned from the extra deck cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects, and gain attack equal to their original defense. So, you know, you can pop off pretty hard and get some pretty decent monsters out there. We'll kind of move these over, set them there. Next, we are running 2 of the Akira class Dreadnought. It's 2 level 4 monsters, and if this card is XE summoned, same thing, apply these effects. The Shari, you draw 1 card, and if it's the Akira, this card can make a second attack during each battle phase, and once per turn when your Gunkan monster that's special summoned from the extra deck inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can target 1 card your opponent controls and destroy it. So obviously the more of these you kind of get out with combined power, you might be able to pop off some real big damage and get some wacky effects off. Next, we just got 1 Uni-class Super Dreadnought. I'd maybe get more of these. I just don't have them at the moment, but I'd recommend maybe getting a second one, possibly a third. And it's if this card is XE summoned, you can apply these effects in sequence based on the materials used. Same thing. The Shari, draw 1 card, and if it's an Uni, this card gains the ability to attack directly. So, you know, one of my favorite effects there. And once per turn during your main phase of once per turn during your main phase or your opponent's battle phase, quick effect, you can target face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of Gunkan monsters you control, special summon from the extra deck, and negate their effects. So, it is a pretty little wacky card. Like I said, I'd recommend more of them, but at the moment I only have 1. But it does leave room for, you know, a future deck update and room for me to play around. Next, we're running 2 Tornado Dragon, just some generic-y kind of stuff if we need to get rid of those spell or traps. We got a Defender of the Labyrinth. I thought I'd just throw in for some funny, you know, inspirational kind of plays, just to get, you know, maybe 2 Sharis on there and just see what you can do with it. Nothing too special with him, just kind of some funny stuff. And lastly, we're just running a Puzzlemino, the Drop-In Deleter. Something else I'm trying, 2 monsters with different levels, and if a monster is special summon face up to a zone this card points to, so either, you know, an extra monster on their side or your monster, except during the damage step, you can declare a level from 1 to 8, and that monster becomes that level until the end of this turn. You can target 2 monsters with the same level, 1 from each field, and destroy them. So, you know, you could either kind of use this as some destruction, or you could use it to maybe change one of your level 4s to 5 or 5 to 4, or whatever kind of plays you may be pulling off. But I thought he's not too bad of a card to throw in there. Obviously, there's some room for improvement. I do got to get some more of the extra deck monsters and kind of run with some of the other stuff to see what I could throw in. So let me know if you have any ideas for the deck or anything you think I could run that would make it a little bit more efficient or a little bit more fun, you know. And, you know, make sure to check out my other deck profiles. I'm doing them pretty consistently now, as well as other videos like Yu-Gi-Oh DIYs, you know, how to make custom shatter foils, ghost rares, etc. You know, how to make dice towers if you're kind of a Duke Devlin duelist or something of the sort. As well as, you know, make sure to check out the KaibaHacksDartz Discord. It's starting to pop off, you know, lots of trading and, you know, duels going on in there, remote duels and stuff. So if you're interested in stuff like that, make sure to check it out. And other than that, make sure to, you know, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that little notification bell so you know when new stuff is coming out. And thanks for watching. Peace. What's good, YouTube, and welcome to another KaibaHacksDartz Yu-Gi-Oh video. Today we're coming at you with our deck profile, deck list, deck update, whatever you like to call it, for July 2024, and this is our ninjas. Now, if you don't know the ninjas, I believe they started just like the penguins. There was just a bunch of cards that happened to have ninja in their name, and then over time, Konami, or whoever at Konami, you know, decided to make an actual archetype out of them, whatever you want to call it. So they kind of consist of working, you know, two different attributes or two different types of ninjas together. Because there is so many different types, most of them are warriors, but the other half are just strung of different types of monsters. So we'll get straight into it. We got 3 Ninja Grandmaster Hanzo. And when this card is normal summoned, you can add 1 ninjutsu art card from your deck to your hand. And when this card is flip summoned or special summoned, you can add 1 ninja monster from your deck to your hand. So a lot of them do have these effects where they can work with other ninjas, or they just kind of have baseline effects. But he's one of your main pieces. Next, we have 3 Mitsu the Insect Ninja. And it's if you can control a ninja or a face-down defense position monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. And when your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can target 1 face-down defense position monster you control, change it to face-up defense position, and if you do, change this card to face-down defense position. Then, if the targeted monster was a ninja monster except Mitsu, negate the opponent's activated effect, and you can only use this once per turn. So a lot of good stuff, plus it's an insect. We tried to keep an equal amount of warriors to other types of monsters in the deck, ninja monsters, to try and get some of those best extra deck plays out of it. But that's quite the combo piece for it. Next, we are running 2 Green Ninja, and he is, if a monster is special summoned to your field face up except during the damage step, you can target 1 of them, special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, change that monster to face down defense position. If this card is sent from the hand or field to the graveyard, you can target 1 monster on the field, change it to face up attack position or face down defense position. You can only use Green Ninja once per turn. Next, we got 2 Tobari the Sky Ninja. This one's a winged beast. You know, it's got some other decent little plays, and it's this card cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect the turn it was special summoned, or flip face up. You can only use each of the following effects of Tobari the Sky Ninja once per turn. You can send this card from your hand to the graveyard, special summon 1 ninja monster from your hand in face up attack, or face up or face down defense position, sorry. During your opponent's main phase or battle phase, quick effect, you can fusion summon 1 ninja fusion monster from your extra deck, using monsters from your hand or field as material. So, you know, some weird plays with him. And he's just an extra ninja, of course. Next, we're running 2 Yellow Ninja. And this one's a warrior. If this card is normal summoned or flipped face up, you can special summon 1 level 4 or lower ninja monster from your hand in attack position or face down defense position. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn, except ninja monsters. So, you know, it's a little restrictive, but it's pretty worth it with some of the ninja monster plays. So we're running 2 of him. Next, we are running 2 Twilight Ninja Jogan. And his pendulum effect is if your ninja monster attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage, sorry, to your opponent. You can reveal one, is actual effect. You can reveal one ninjutsu card, ninjutsu art, sorry, I'm having a stroke right here. Card in your hand, special summon this card from your hand. And if this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage. So you can either get him in the pendulum zone to get just whatever monster doing that, or use him himself. And he's a good way to just bring out an extra, you know, an extra one on the field. Plus, it's not once per turn. Extra ninja, sorry. Now, next for some of the one-off ninjas, we have, I believe, 5 or 6 here. We're running Kagero the Cannon Ninja. This card is normal summon, special summon, or flip face up. You can special summon one ninja monster from your hand or graveyard in face down defense position. And when your opponent activates a card effect that targets exactly one ninja card or exactly one face down defense position monster you control, while this card is in your graveyard, quick effect, you can special summon this card in face down defense position. And if you do, return that targeted card to the hand. So, you know, he's kind of a weird one. I'm testing him out. With a lot of these, they're either being kind of tested out or they have a different type, so I'm just kind of fitting them in to see if they work as well. If this next we got Yugioh the Gravity Ninja. I believe I did have one of him in the Dummy Golem deck. But it's if this card is normal summon / special summoned or flip face up, you can target up to 2 monsters face up on the field and change them to face down defense position. So you can do it for your ninjas or your opponent's monsters. And if you do, any opponent's monsters that were flipped by this effect cannot change their battle positions. So, you know, it's a good way to lock them down. And if a monster on the field is flip face up while this monster is face up on the field, except during the damage step, you can target one card your opponent controls, destroy it. So, you know, not too shabby. And if you can get him off a bunch of times, you might be able to clog up their field. So we'll move to the next one. Penguin Ninja. And of course, like I kind of mentioned how these guys are like the penguins, how they started off not as an archetype. He's a aqua, but he's a ninja, you know, and you can flip. He's a flip effect. You can target up to 2 spell / traps your opponent controls, return them to hand. And then he's got some kind of more penguin-based effects. It's the same thing with them, as it's just penguin instead of ninja. But I'm running him because he has ninja in the name. And you never know what he might be useful for in terms of the spell and traps. Haven't tested him out too much, but he is an aqua, so it's good for some other plays. Next, we have Baku the Beast Ninja. If this card is added to your hand except by drawing it, you can special summon it. And if this card is special summoned or flip face up, you can target one ninja or ninjutsu art card from your graveyard or face up spell and trap card zone, except Baku the Beast Ninja, and return it to the hand. So if you're getting some multiple stuff off, plus he's a beast. This guy, he's not too important in terms of what he's doing, just an extra warrior. And then Red Dragon Ninja. When this card is summoned, you can banish one ninja or ninjutsu art card from your graveyard, then target one set card your opponent controls, reveal that set card, then return it to either the top or the bottom of the deck. Your opponent cannot activate the targeted card in response to this effect's activation. So, you know, you can maybe be able to shut some weird stuff down, plus he's just a winged beast. Moving on to the spells. We are running 3 Ninjutsu Art Notebook of Mystery. And it's if your opponent controls a card, you can set up to 1 ninja monster and 1 ninjutsu art spell trap card, except Ninjutsu Art Notebook of Mystery, sorry. These cards come from your deck and or graveyard, but only one can come from each. And if the set card on the field is sent to the graveyard, you can target one face-up monster on the field and change it into face-down defense position. So either way, you're getting some use out of it, but it's a good way to get into some of those cards. Next, we got 3 Ninjutsu Art Tool Iron Dagger. This is a great little piece for the deck, and it is the equipped monster gains 500 attack. Also, it's treated as a ninja. You can only use each of the following effects of Ninjutsu Iron Tool or Art Tool Iron Dagger once per turn. You can banish one ninja monster from your graveyard, then target one card on the field and destroy it. And if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can target one of your banished ninja monsters and add it to your hand or special summon it face down. So it's a great way to recycle, get some extra stuff off, maybe a little bit of extra damage. Plus, it makes anything into a ninja if you wanted to run some other stuff in the deck. Next, for the field spell, kind of one-offs here, we got the Tenchi Kaimai and the Hidden Village of Ninjutsu Arts. They're kind of long, but they're both some decent support for the ninja stuff. I'd maybe run more of the village if I had it, but I only have that one at the moment. Next, we're running 2 of the Warrior Returning Alive. Pretty self-explanatory, just to get those ninjas back in hand to maybe pop off with some more combos. And of course, there's a couple other cards I'd like to have in the deck, but I'll save those for maybe a future update when I get a couple more. And for some one-offs, Reinforcement of the Army, Reinforcement of the Army's Troops, and a Monster Reborn. Moving on to the traps. We got 2 Ninjutsu Art of Dancing Leaves. And let's activate this card by targeting 1 ninja monster or 1 face-down defense position monster on the field. Tribute it, and if you do, special summon 1 ninja monster from your deck. When this card leaves the field, send that monster to the graveyard, and you can target 1 ninjutsu art continuous spell/trap in your spell and trap zone. Return it to the hand. So we got 2 of those, like I said. Running 1 ninjutsu Art of Shadow Stealing. I'd maybe like to get more of this, but it's tribute 1 ninja monster to target 1 monster your opponent controls, banish that target, and while that card is banished, its monster card zone cannot be used. When this face-up card leaves the field, return that banished card by the effect to the same monster card zone in the same battle position. So you could maybe combo this off with some of the other stuff to clog up their zones, if you had more of these. Ninjutsu Art of Transformation. Activate this card by tributing 1 face-up ninja monster, special summon 1 beast, winged beast, or insect monster from your hand, or deck whose level is less than or equal to the level of the tributed monster had on the field, +3. So basically to bring out some of those other monsters that aren't like maybe warriors, or if you're trying to bring out something very specific. Next we're running just 1 Metaverse in basically place of that extra village. Mirror Force, and a Light Force Sword. And that pretty much does it for the main deck. Like I said, there's a couple different routes you could take this. This is just kind of my basic blend, but I could try and go for that more field fill-up kind of stuff with, you know, the 1 ninjutsu art trap and the monsters. But there is a lot of plays. But finally, we'll finish up here with the extra deck. We got Yagu Romeru, I believe, Yagu Romeru, something like that, the Armor Ninja. And he's a fusion, and it's 2 ninja monsters with different types. Must either be fusion summoned or special summoned from your extra deck by tributing the above cards. So they're basically a contact fusion, so it's decent. And if this card is special summoned or flipped face up, you can banish 1 other ninja monster or ninjutsu art card from your hand, graveyard, or face-up field, sorry, then target 1 card on the field and banish it. So he's pretty decent with the 2000 attack. It's good just removal. I'll set those down here. Next we are running 3 Mai Zen, the Battle Ninja. Personally one of my favorites. And it's 2 ninja monsters with different types. Same stuff, he's got that contact fusion. And it's your ninja monsters can attack directly while you control a face-down defense position monster. Your opponent's monsters cannot target this card for attacks. When your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can special summon 1 ninja monster from your deck in face-up or face-down defense position. So he's got a lot of potential. He's got a bit more attack, so I'd say this is the more main one to kind of go for. Plus, those direct attacks. And you know I love that direct attack stuff if you're a fan of the channel. Next, we got 1 Blade Armor Ninja. I'd maybe like to have more of these, and also the XZ's Ninja Monster, but I haven't been able to get my hands on, or not XZ's, the Link, sorry. Link Ninja Monster. I was looking at this, thinking about it. The Link Ninja Monster, because it's kind of a newer one, but I'm gonna try and get some more of that, and maybe do an update on this in the future. And I gotta get more Blade Armor Ninja here, which is just 2 level 4 warrior type monsters. and it's once per turn. You can detach one XZ's material from this card to target one face-up ninja monster you control this turn. That monster can attack twice during each battle phase. So what you could maybe try and do is try and get this out with a combination of Maizen the Battle Ninja, and if he can attack twice, and they're both directly, you can go in for at least 5,000. Plus, this thing can attack, for 22 directly if you also have that Maizen. So you can get up to pretty high, plus you might be able to get some other stuff out. So it's about figuring out those plays and getting a couple more cards into the deck. Finally, just for a couple Link monsters, generic-y kind of stuff, we got a Decode Talker, a Pit Knight early, and a Nightmare Phoenix. Like I said, most of the cards will kind of lock you into ninja-y stuff, so I will try and pick up more of those. But overall, the deck seems to be pretty efficient in what it does, getting out those ninjas of, different types to make the extra deck ones. And I believe the Link monster, it might be that they need different attribute ninjas. I'm not 100%. If not, it is the same as the fusion ones. But it's pretty cool how they've made the ninja kind of archetype, and like I said, there's different ways to take it. I think it'd be almost cool to make like a ninja penguin deck, since penguin ninja is a thing. Ninja penguin, so you have some ninjas, some penguins, and then maybe trying to find a way to consistently get that iron dagger out to be able to make your penguins into ninjas, and then maybe find a way to make those ninjas into penguins or do whatever plays you need with them. But other than that, that's pretty much the deck. So you make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Tell me what you liked about it. Tell me what you think I could do to improve it or try on. Make sure to hit that little notification bell so you know when new videos are coming out. I'm uploading all the time with deck lists, Yu-Gi-Oh! DIYs, how to make Shatterfoil cards, how to make Ghost Rare, stuff like that. Different techniques, dice towers, stuff like that for Yu-Gi-Oh! So make sure to check out all that stuff. And, like I said, I appreciate you watching. And, peace. What's good, YouTube, and welcome to another KaibaHacksDartz Yu-Gi-Oh! Video. Today, we're coming at you with another deck profile, deck list, deck update, whatever you like to call it. And this is our Penguin deck for October 2024. Now, if you don't know the Penguins, they are similar to the Ninjas, which I've also done a deck profile on, which they started out as just, generic-y kind of monsters, not actually an archetype, archetype, whatever you like to call it, but has slowly formed into one over the years. That is also why I want to make that Ninja Penguin Ninja deck eventually as well. But we're getting there in the process. We still have to make a Penguin deck. So here it is today. And of course, Penguin Soldier is one of the classics. And he kind of represents what a lot of the deck does, which is, flip monsters and sending cards back to the owner's hand, whether it's yours or your opponent's. So obviously, Penguin Soldier Classic can send up to 2 monster cards to the owner's hand, so you could send him back and their monster. Lots of potential with him, and we're running 3 of him. You could take that down to 2, up to you. Next, we got 3 Nightmare Penguin. It's not actually a flip monster, but it is when this card is flipped face up, return 1 card on your opponent's side of the field to the owner's hand, and as long as this card remains face up on the field, increase the attack of all water monsters on the field by 200 points. So he's basically just a similar thing to Penguin Soldier, but of course he's level 4, and it's only 1 monster, plus a little bit of bonus attack, which isn't really his main use, but it is something. Next, we are running 3 Nope Penguin, and this is during either player's turn. When an effect of a penguin monster is activated, special summon this card from your graveyard, and you can only use the effect of No Penguin once per turn. If a card would be returned from the field to the hand by the effect of a penguin card, you can banish it instead. So of course, you could be sending back their cards, but instead of sending them back, you're banishing them. And of course, he's just real easy to bring out with popping off those penguin effects. And of course, a lot of these numbers can be switched out depending on kind of the strats and how you're feeling out the deck, what extra deck monsters you have. It still has a lot of potential for being changed up in the future, at least mine does. Next, we have 2 Penguin Squire. I'd probably take this up to 3 if I had a third one. I thought I did, but I'm not sure where it is. But it's an Aqua Tuner, and it cannot be used as a synchro material except for the synchro summon of a water monster. And if a monster is set on your field, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then you can reduce its level by 1 or 2. So obviously that's opening up the potential for some different synchro plays and such. And you can target one face-down monster you control and change it to face-up defense position. And if you do, its effects are negated unless it's a penguin monster. So obviously, some synchronicity with some of those other penguins that have those flip effects. Next, we're running the two of the Great Emperor Penguin. Another one you could possibly take up to 3, and it's you can tribute this card, special summon up to 2 penguin monsters from your deck, except the Great Emperor Penguin. So of course, just a easy way to kind of pop off a little bit more with your penguins, line up some plays. Next, we're running 2 Penguin Ninja. Flip, you can target up to 2 spells / traps your opponent controls and return them to hand. And you can target 1 penguin monster you control and change it to face down defense position. So obviously he's a good way to get off those penguin monsters again, and for some spell and trap removal, or at least send back to hand, and I believe if you could still use it with the effect of no penguin, and have them banish instead. Next, we are running 2 Penguin Torpedo. This card can attack directly, and when this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can target 1 level 6 or lower monster your opponent controls and take control of it at the end phase, but its effects are negated. Also, it cannot declare an attack, and while you control it, you can only use the effect, it cannot declare an attack while you control it. You can only use the effect of Penguin Torpedo once per turn. At the end of the damage step, if this card attacked, destroy this card. So, he's just kind of a weird little tech piece, trying him out, seeing how the the stealing kind of works, and if it pops off enough for me to use it. Plus, the 550 direct attack, plus maybe Nightmare Penguin and some other stuff, you might be able to get him slightly higher in attack for those direct attacks. Next, we are running 2 Glacial Beast Polar Penguin. This is our other kind of tuner for the deck. And if this card is special summoned, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls, return it to the hand. And if this card on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target 1 card your opponent controls and return it to the hand. So, more of that same kind of essence of returning to hand, plus he's a tuner, just kind of fits in well. Of course, he can be brought up in numbers, brought down, depending on, like I said, your extra deck and such. Next, we're running 2 Penguin Cleric. If a penguin monsters is sent from your monster zone to the graveyard by an opponent's card, even during the damage step, you can target 1 of them, discard this card, and if you do, special summon that monster in face down defense position. You can only use the effect of Penguin Cleric once per turn, and once per turn you can target 1 penguin monster you control, it gains 600 attack until the end of the turn, and you gain 600 life points. So he's got some little weird Healy effects, plus the attack, like I said, you could add to some different penguin monsters, like that Penguin Torpedo or whatever. Plus, of course, you got a way to just get back maybe a monster that you need it on the field or want to reuse again. Like I said, that's just another tech piece that can be traded out. There is still a couple other penguins that I don't have in the deck that you could try out. I believe like Guard Penguin and stuff like that. But we do have 2 Puny Penguin next. It's when this card is sent from the field to the graveyard. After being flipped face up, target 1 penguin monster in your graveyard, except Puny Penguin, and special summon that target in face up attack position or face down defense position. So he's a little slower, but he is at level 1, so we can use him kind of for some more specific-y extra deck plays. Like I said, it's just kind of another tech piece to see what we can work with. Moving on to the spells. We are running 3 Penguin Sword. Great little card here, kind of necessary with the deck. Well, not necessary, but very nice. It's equipped only to a penguin monster, gains 800 attack, and when the equipped monster inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can return 1 card your opponent controls to the hand. So obviously continuing that same kind of pattern with the deck. And if a face-up card your opponent controls leaves the field by a penguin's card effect and returns by a penguin card's effect, and returns to the hand or is banished, negate the activated effects and effects on the field of cards with that original name until the end of the next turn. So of course, if you're sending it back to hand, they still can't use it if it's something that they could just immediately drop again. It's some good stopping power, a little bit of attack. Can be used in a lot of different ways for the deck. Next, we're running 3 Royal Penguins Garden. Another kind of essentially card for the deck, but of course, can be traded out. And when this card is activated, you can add 1 Penguin card from your deck to your hand, except Royal Penguins Garden. And once per turn during your main phase, you can decrease the level of 1 Penguin monster in your hand or face up field by 1 until the end of this turn. Then discard 1 card. You can only activate 1 Royal Penguins Garden per turn. So of course, this you can use with your level 5s to get them down to level 4. You can use it to, get whatever to your hand, including, the Penguin Sword, stuff like that. Very versatile. Oh, sorry, here we'll move these to the side. There we are. Next, a classic, we are running 3 Water Hazard. It is once per turn, if you control no monsters, you can special summon 1 level 4 or lower water monster from your hand. And of course, you could always use Royal Penguin Gardens to decrease whatever's level, so you can special summon it as well, like that great Emperor Penguin. Next, we are running 2 Surface. Pretty self-explanatory, just to kind of recycle some of those penguins. Of course, ones that we can pop off their effects too. It's a tech piece, working on it, seeing what works, kind of using the generic-y water support that I have at the moment. Next, we have 1 Big Wave, Small Wave. Destroy as many water monsters you control as possible. Then you can special summon water monsters from your hand up to the number of monsters destroyed by this effect. I don't know how entirely useful this will be. I haven't really had a chance to try it out. I just kind of threw it in as some filler. But it seems like it could be useful in the deck. Next, I have a double summon. You could probably just trade this out for something similar. But this is just in case we need to get out a little bit more power, hands full of monsters, and you maybe don't have a certain combo. The double summon comes in. And lastly, a Monster Reborn. Of course, to bring back whatever. Next, the traps. We have 2 Armor Recall. This is just to go with the Penguin Sword to try and get it a little bit more consistently. So that way you can go for some bigger kind of Penguin Sword plays. And lastly, just a Wabaku, another kind of piece of filler. Like I said, I could get more maybe Great Emperor Penguins, Penguin Squires, and just kind of work in with some of the different water stuff to see what works. And of course, if I do add in the ninjas, like I said, there'd be some different traps and stuff in there. There is a lot of flip kind of support because the ninjas and penguins do have a lot of that flip kind of stuff going in tandem. So I think it could be a fun deck to do eventually. Moving to the extra deck, we have 3 Penguin Brave. Of course, the kind of main boy for this deck. And it's your opponent cannot target face-down defense position monsters you control with card effects. So, kind of covering your penguins or whatever. And you can only use each of the following effects of Penguin Brave once per turn. If this card is synchro summoned, you can special summon 1 penguin monster from your deck and face-down defense position. So, another little adage. And when your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can flip 1 face-down defense position water monster you control face up. So it's a good way to get them off, once they're down, those puny penguins or whatever you need to do to get it off. Or whatever plays you need to flip, penguin soldiers, stuff like that. Next, we are running 3 White Aura Dolphin. I don't have too much in terms of the extra deck. There's still a lot of potential and fill out. I don't even have any, Xyz monsters. So I'm still working with a lot of stuff, but the White Aura Dolphin's pretty generic and works with some of the stuff. It's once per turn. You can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. Its attack becomes half its original attack until the end of this turn. And if this card in your possession is destroyed by opponent's card and sent to your graveyard, you can banish 1 other water monster from your graveyard and special summon this card as a tuner. So, of course, it can be used for some bigger synchro plays if you get there. But, of course, it can just be used to kind of get those beefier monsters down. I have 3 of those. Like I said, that could be tuned down a lot more. It's just because I had 3 and I don't have a full extra deck yet. Next, we are running 1 Ascan the Bicorned Goatee. Ascan the Bicorned Goatee. If this card is special summon, you can target 1 fish monster you control. Obviously, we don't have one of those, but banish them, and you can banish 1 fisher. It's really just more for the attack. In there, just another water monster. Same with the Ravenous Croco Dragon Arcathes or whatever. Just something else to go into, maybe potential draw power. The White Aura Bahamut. It's during your turn. When this card is synchro summoned, you can special summon 1 Divine Dragon token, fish water, attack through, in defense position once per turn. Once per opponent's turn, while you control no tokens, quick effect, you can special summon 1 Divine Dragon token. If this card you control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect and sent to your graveyard while you control one of the tokens, you can special summon this card in defense position. So, it's just another weird little play. And same with the Marine Cess, Coral, Anemone. You can target 1 water monster with 1500 or less attack in your graveyard, special summon it to the zone this card points to. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn, except water monsters. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can target 1 Marine Cess monster. It's not really important, but of course, this is just another little combo piece extender. You could have more of these in the deck. Lots of different water monsters that you could throw in here, and just different extra deck stuff. Of course, you want to go more water, because some of the cards lock you into water extra deck monsters only, or at least I believe for the synchro summons. So there is lots of potential for the deck to grow and to change up. Of course, like I said, I do want to make that penguin ninja deck, ninja penguins, whatever you want to call it, where it's a mix of the both, because they both have similar stories behind them, where they were not archetypes and just, there was a bunch of ninja monsters, there was a bunch of penguin monsters, and then they slowly formed into an actual archetype and got support over the years. So hopefully, with more people maybe playing this deck and more people trying it out, they might add more cards in, the rest of the penguins from the Penguin Brave art. You got this boy back here, and presumably this little wizard penguin back here that we're still missing out on. So at some point, maybe we'll get those as support, plus some other cards. I'm not too sure if the OCG has them or not, so let me know in the comments if you know anything, in the future that might be coming out for this deck, or any cool plays that you think I may have missed, or upgrades you think I could do in the future. Of course, make sure to check out my other deck profiles. I do them pretty often. And I also do other videos as well, Yu-Gi-Oh! DIYs, top 10s, stuff like that, all kinds of different Yu-Gi-Oh! Content, so I recommend you check out the channel. Make sure to, like, comment, share, and subscribe if you like the video. And like I said, hit that little hit that little notification bell so you know when future content's coming out. And thanks for watching. Peace. What's good, YouTube, and welcome to another KaibaHacksDartz Yu-Gi-Oh! Video. Today we're back with another deck list, deck profile, deck update, whatever you like to call it. And this is our Rock/Dummy Golem deck for October 2024. Now, of course, this deck pretty much is a generic kind of rock deck, but we're running it around Dummy Golem. So if you're not choosing to run Dummy Golem, there's a couple pieces you can take out and switch for some better rock cards to help the plays a bit more, or do whatever you need to do. But Dummy Golem's what we're kind of running because he's a funny card. He is flip, your opponent selects one monster that he/she controls, and switch control of the selected monster and this card. Thing is, when he gets attacked and gets flipped up, you do have to make sure he survives that attack, so we have a couple plays in here to keep him alive, because if he dies, then there's nothing to he can't be targeted with that selected monster and swapped, so you got to keep him alive. But he is our main kind of boy that we're running, and we have 3 of him. Next, we have 3 Century Soldier of Stone. If all monsters you control are rock-type monsters, minimum 1, well, this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card. So he's great for, extra deck plays, just getting out monsters in general, whatever you need to do, rock monsters specifically. And of course, you can Foolish Burial them, or whatever you need to do to get them in the grave. Or, if you do get them on the field, you can use them for an extra deck play, a Link monster, whatever, then get him off that Link monster or in the grave, and then bring him back, so he's pretty reusable, as long as you have rock monsters, and we're running 3 of him as well. Next, we have the Gorgonic Gargoyle. It is when you normal summon a rock-type monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. So, obviously, when you normal summon one of your many cards, you can then bring out the Gorgonic Gargoyle and go in for those plays. And he's level 3, like the Sentry Soldier of Stone. Next, we are running 3 Doki Doki. This is a great way to get more special summons out and to do some other weird plays. It is you can discard 1 rock-type monster and special summon from your deck 1 rock-type monster that has the same original attribute and level as that monster in face-up attack position or face-down defense position. And you can only use the effect of Doki Doki once per turn. So, if you were to discard maybe another Doki Doki or a Dummy Golem, you can get a Dummy Golem face down. And or, if you're doing it for other plays, maybe you discard a Gorgonic Gargoyle to get a Sentry Soldier of Stone. Or maybe you can discard the Sentry Soldier of Stone and then use him to bring him back while having, different monsters on the field. There's lots of different plays to go through. So 3 of those as well. The Tyramid Hunter is our next card. You can kind of work with the tech on him because he's a little different. It is, if a field spell card is face up on the field, you can normal summon 1 rock-type monster in addition to your normal summon / set, and you can only gain this effect once per turn. And the rest of it isn't really important to our strats, but he's another level 3. And of course, if we have a field spell out, an additional normal summon. Next, we are running 2 of the Kartorin, the Hidden Gem of the Seafront. I'm sure I kind of messed his name up, but it is you can discard this card, and you can normal summon 1 earth or water monster during your main phase this turn in addition to your normal summon / set. So that's to bring out one of our rock earth monsters or rock water monsters. And you can only gain this effect once per turn, And if you control an earth and water monsters while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field, and it's once per turn. So we do have a rock water monster in the deck to hopefully pull off that secondary effect as well. Next, we're running 2 Neospatian Grand Mole. Just good kind of a removal for extra deck monsters. It's got a lot of tech. Kind of useful. Plus, he's a level 3, so he's good for that Doki Doki, sorry. So here is our rock water monster. So that way we can get him and hopefully an earth out on the field and bring back our lizard. So you could almost discard the lizard, get that extra normal summon both, bring back the lizard, and you can start to do some more and more combos with the different pieces. And if this card is special summoned by the effect of an Adamancer card, you can draw 1 card. And that's pretty much the main effect that we're using off of him. And other than just he's a rock monster, and he has decent defense. Next, we have the Adamancer Analyzer. And I would like to get some Seekers as well. They kind of do similar stuff. But it is, if your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. And during your main phase, you can excavate the top 5 cards of your deck. And if you do, you can special summon 1 excavated level 4 or lower non-tuner rock monster. Also place the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So with the Seeker, I believe you can just basically special summon it. And then you can use both of these to maybe get out each other, or possibly bring out the Dragite to draw that 1 card extra. There's a lot of different plays, but I'd recommend getting a Seeker as well for the engine. For some of the one-offs that we're just kind of running until we get some filler, we got Gaia Plate, the Giant Earth. Once per turn during your standby phase, you can banish 1 rock monster from your graveyard, or send this card to the graveyard. And you can special summon this card from your hand by banishing 2 rock monsters from your graveyard. And if it battles an opponent's monster, that monster's attack and defense become half during damage calculation only. So he's just kind of a big rock beat stick. Plus, if we got a lot of monsters in the graveyard, we can start to use them off for something, so for him. Next, running 1 Barrier Statue of the Drought. This is just kind of a weird tech around piece. We do have lots of dark and stuff, but I figure it could just be, you summon off some of the extra deck monsters or whatever that isn't stuff that isn't Earth, special summon them, and then you can get him out to stall out your opponent in the end phase, possibly. Or no, you get him out before the end phase, but stall him out. Primineral Manstrong. You can set this card from your hand to your spell and trap zone as a spell, and during the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was destroyed by opponent's card effect, this turn while it was set on your field, you can special summon this card then you can add one monster from your graveyard to your hand, except this dude. So, obviously, it's a little recycle power, plus he's got some decent attack and defense on him, and he kind of is just like a little jabate in your spell and trap card zone to get something extra out. And lastly, we just got an effect veiler in there. That covers the monsters. Like I said, there's a few things I'd like to switch out and kind of change up, but get some Adamancipator Seekers in there. Next, we are running 3 Catapult Zone. This is going to be one of your main pull-offs for getting that dummy golem off, but it can be useful in a lot of other situations. One, to get those stone guys in the graveyard, those level 3s that come back. So you could just send one from your deck when your monster gets attacked, and then on your next turn. Plus, there's a couple other good cards like Revival Golem that you could throw in. He's when this card is sent from the deck to the graveyard, you can special summon it or add it to your hand, and he's another rock monster. So that's one that you could possibly tech in, depending on how often you want to use this and what you're doing. Then we are running Monster Reborn, a Foolish Burial, Demise of the Land. It's just kind of a random fun one I threw in substitute of, something else. But activate only when your opponent special summons a monster. Select one field spell card from your deck and activate it. It's just kind of a fun mess around piece. Then we got a Terraforming. Terrors of the Hidden City. You could probably buff up to 2 or 3. Just for those monsters, like the Dragonite, and you have this out, you can get them up to 3,500 defense, or you might have 36 or 37, I think, maybe. But there's a lot of boosts you could do for defense. Plus, if it gets destroyed, well, you have a flip monster in your graveyard, so the dummy golem, you can add them to hand, I believe. Let me just read. Oh, special summon it in face down to defense position, even better, yeah. And then lastly, we're just teching in a Miracle Rupture. Summon a level 4 or lower monster from your deck to the graveyard. That's basically the main effect we're going to be using, but it also has some Fossil Fusion synergy as well. And that's all the spells. Next, we'll move on to the traps. We are running 3 Wabaku, just for some stall power, plus to maybe get that dummy golem off if we don't have Catapult Zone. Torrential Tribute. I'd recommend probably just getting a Regeki, but this is just kind of our filler for now. Rivalry of the Warlords. Just a fun little extra piece, especially because it's 99% rock monsters, I believe. And then a Reckless Greed just for a little bit of draw power. Lastly, move into the extra deck, and there's still a lot of work that can be done on this, but we're working into it, trying to find more rock extra deck monsters. There is a XYZ level 2, XYZ, whatever you like to call them, level 2, that is pretty good. It's you can discard a card, and you basically can't, or not discard, detach, and he can't be destroyed by anything that turn once, and then you can keep doing it. He's kind of just a stall piece, but there's a couple of them that are good. Plus just generic other pieces. Well, we'll see what fits in, and I'm open to recommendations. But 2 of the Gorgonic Guardian, and this is going to be one of your main guys because we got lots of level 3s and lots of ways to get them out, and he's a great little just stopping piece. During either player's turn, you can detach, target one face-up monster your opponent controls, its attack becomes 0, and if it does, its effects are negated. So you could do that, pop off and just get him to a 0 attack. But then there's also, these effects last until the end of the turn, and once per turn, you can target one monster in the field with 0 attack and destroy it. So depending on what's going on, you never know, they could have a 0 attack monster already that maybe just gets an effect attack during whatever, and you could hit it, destroy it, and then send their other monster to 0 attack and then attack. There's lots of weird strats you can use with him. And of course, if you go in with the level 3 rock guy, you can bring him back and recycle and keep going into more plays. Next, we're just rocking a Dark Mist. This just happens to be if you get out a lot of Doki Dokis or dummy golems and you need to get rid of them, basically. This is something to do. Same with our Oni Bimaru Soul Sweeper. We're running 2 of those. Same kind of thing, just to get rid of our guys if we've kind of used them up or don't have a use for them, and they just happen to be in hand. Something we can do with them. Next, we are running 1 and I'd recommend bringing it up to 2. I just couldn't find my other one. Geonator Transverser. It's a great little rock card. You know, you could bring something stupid out, dummy golem or whatever, and it's the link card. The linked card and monsters it points to cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. This linked card, sorry. So, you know, it's pointing to something, and you can have that be non-destroyable by card effects. And if this card points to 2 monsters, you can switch control of those monsters. So depending on where you have them, you know, you can hit different monsters in different zones and swap out whatever guys. This is just kind of where the placement of your monsters gets real specific. And if they happen to put a monster where you can maybe hit it, you can trade control. So it's a good little piece, and it's a good way to get rid of those extra monsters. Next, we got Barricade Ward Blocker. Just a great way to get those continuous and field spells back. 2-hand if need be. And then an Underclock Taker. Basic stuff. Like I said, there's a couple other rock, you know, like extra deck monsters I'd look into and I'm trying to get. A few expensive ones, if you know what I'm saying. And a few other pieces for the main deck, like the Seekers and stuff that we're working on. But there's a lot of strategies coming together. And I think the engine that I've kind of put together with the different, like the Lizard Guy and the different Adamanticipators, the Water and the Earth, the Doki Doki, it's getting to some real good ratios where you can bring out a lot of monsters and start to do some bigger plays. So I think, like I said, it's a work in progress, but it's coming along. And if you have any suggestions, make sure to let me know. And, you know, make sure to check out my other deck profiles. I do this pretty often. Just recently did like a Wicked Gods deck. A few other ones, you know, pretty consistent. As well as, you know, some pack openings, dollar store packs. Yu-Gi-Oh! DIY projects, you know, dungeon dice monsters. That we're in the process of recreating that. As well, you know, we're just lots of different Yu-Gi-Oh! Videos in general. So make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that little notification bell so you know when future stuff's coming out. Make sure to also hit up the KaibaHacksDartz Discord. Link will be in the description. Lots of, you know, chats going on in there about different polls, you know, different formats, all kinds of stuff. Plus, you know, some content kind of updates here and there. So like I said, make sure you check that out. And otherwise, thanks for watching. Peace. What's good, YouTube, and welcome to another KaibaHacksDartz Yu-Gi-Oh! Video. Today we're here with another deck list, deck profile, deck update, whatever you like to call it. And this is our Skull Servant deck for December 2024. As always, this is a work in progress, so, you know, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that little notification bell so you stay tuned for future updates of this deck and other deck profiles. But if you don't know Skull Servant, he's a classic card that has, you know, kind of baked up his own archetype throughout the years. And what that revolves around is getting as many Skull Servants or other monsters that will become Skull Servant in the graveyard. Get as many of them in the graveyard so you can boost up the king of the Skull Servants. So we're running 3 normal Skull Servant, just a classic little boy. And we do have a little bit of a direct attack twist on this deck, something I'm trying out in kind of lieu of some of the Skull Servant cards. Unfortunately, we only have 1 King of the Skull Servants, but I'd definitely tech this up to 2, 3, just because he can obviously boost off his own attack as well when he's in the graveyard, and that way I can get out more of them consistently. But in lieu of that, we just have ways to, you know, bring him back more often, get him out of the deck more often, and, you know, maybe bring him back if he's banished or something like that, as well as some other plays. But he's one of your main boys. Moving on, we got 3 White Baking, one of my favorite cards, just because he's such a little meme lord. And it is, this card's name becomes Skull Servant while it is in the graveyard. And if a level 3 or lower zombie monster you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can discard this card instead. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add 2 monsters with different names from your deck to your hand, except White Baking, that are either Skull Servant or mention it. Then discard 1 card. So of course a lot of this stuff is getting the White Bakings in the graveyard, other white cards that have their names become Skull Servant. So of course we can boost this boy up because, you know, he gets 1,000 attack for each one of them that are in the graveyard. Plus his own little effect to kind of recycle them. But 3 of the White Bakings can help to boost that attack, of course. Moving on, we got 3 White Lord. And as always, if you have any suggestions for this deck as I go through, make sure to leave them in the comments. Always open to new stuff. But we got the White Lord here, and it is, this card's name becomes Skull Servant while in the graveyard, like 90% of them do that. And you can only use each of the following effects of White Lord once per turn. If you have Skull Servant or King of the Skull Servants in your graveyard, you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard. Send cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard up to the number of Skull Servant and King of Skull Servants in your graveyard. And you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one Skull Servant or King of Skull Servants in your graveyard and special summon it. So, obviously, a real easy way to bring them out, and a good way to mill some cards to hopefully boost the attack of your King of the Skull Servants. Moving on, we got 2 White Princess. All this stuff, I'd recommend, basically take into 3, just so you can get even more attack power, but the numbers can be worked with, and of course I'll have future updates when I kind of refine the deck a bit more. And it is, this card's name becomes Skull Servant while it is in the graveyard, of course, and if this card is normal or special summoned, you can send 1 White Prince from your deck to the graveyard. And during either player's turn, you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard, and all monsters on the field lose attack and defense equal to their own level / rank times 300. So, it can be used to, kind of make things have some lower attack, then bring out something beefier after the fact. But of course, just for more boost effects on stuff, and for getting that White Prince in the grave, which we have 2 of. Like I said, you could bring her up to 3. And it's, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can send 1 Skull Servant and 1 Lady in White from your hand or deck to the graveyard, and you can banish 2 Skull Servants and this card from your graveyard to special summon 1 King of Skull Servants from your deck. So, obviously, we can bring them out pretty easily and recycle them pretty easily. So I figure the 1 is okay-ish enough, but like I said, I'd like to boost it up, that King. And these boys are pretty decent for doing that. Next, we have 2 of the Lady in White. Face-up level 3 or lower zombie-type monsters you control, except the Lady in White, cannot be destroyed by battle and are unaffected by card effects, or unaffected by the effects of spell and trap cards, sorry. And it is treated as Skull Servant while it's in your graveyard. So it's a nice little wall piece, and it's a good way to keep them on the field. Next, we got 2 Gozuki. Obviously, you could throw some Mizukis in here. I know I have some somewhere, but I don't know where I put them. They might be in a deck right now, or in some kind of the primordial ooze of a deck. So, we got the Gozukis, at least for now. During your main phase, you can send 1 zombie monster from your deck to the graveyard. Obviously, a great way to line up some different plays. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can banish 1 zombie monster from your graveyard to special summon 1 zombie monster from your hand. So, another way to just kind of recycle-y stuff, get stuff out. Works pretty well with the deck. Little fun monster I threw in was the Samurai Skull, because, they're the Skull Servants, so I figure, he kind of fits in. He's a zombie. I thought it was funny. Plus, his effect kind of works with the stuff, so we got, when this card is normal summoned, you can send 1 zombie monster from your deck to the graveyard. Of course, that's some tech to maybe get some of the plays going off with the white monsters and Skull Servants. And if this face-up card and its owner's control leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, you can special summon 1 level 4 or lower zombie monster from your deck. So I figure this would also kind of be a good combo with the Lady in White. If you happen to get both of them out on the field, he can't be destroyed by battle or spell and traps, so they're going to have to use card effect. They're going to hit him, and then he's going to be popped, and then you can special summon a King from your deck, or whatever you need to extend those plays to get to a King. So I figured he was a fun little inclusion, and it's funny that he is a skull, and they're the Skull Servants. Threw in a Spirit Reaper, of course, for a little tech protection, a little bit more defense, maybe in lieu of like a Lady in White, or just some more white cards. Next, we got 3 Card Trooper. Now, there's a lot of different stuff you could trade this out for. There's a lot of like Light Sworn plays you could get into, but I figured this would just kind of work in lieu of some of the other cards that I might be missing. But it is once per turn, you can choose a number from 1 to 3, then send that many cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard, and this card gains 500 attack for each card sent to the graveyard this way, until the end of this turn, and if this card you control is destroyed and sent to your graveyard, draw 1 card. So the draw 1 card is kind of a bonus, but of course we can kind of beef him up, and then he works with some of the other plays that I have in the deck, and of course just getting Skull Servants and white monsters into the graveyard. That concludes the monsters. moving into the real fun kind of stuff that I'm throwing in, but it's still working on, of course, is 3 Infected Mail. Now, this is once per turn, you can target 1 level 4 or lower monster you control. It can attack your opponent directly this turn, and send it to the graveyard at the end of the battle phase. So, this is a perfect card. If we get that King of Skull Servants out, and he has, we have 8 Skull Servant monsters, or white monsters that are named Skull Servant related, he's up to 8,000, and we can literally go in for just an 8,000 attack directly, because he's level 1. Or just, it, of course, works with all your other boys. If you need to get them in the graveyard, you can attack directly, and then they'll also go into the graveyard. And, Bob's your uncle, you're in. Of course, it works with the Card Trooper as well. That's why I kind of felt it was nice. You can bring the Card Trooper out, mill 3, maybe you have some plays set up. He's up to, 1,900. Attack with him directly for 1,900. He goes to the grave, then you can draw 1 card off of him. So he's a good way to pop that off, or maybe get him off the field if you're doing some other kind of zombie plays. But I figure this is some real fun sauce for the deck. Another card I'm working on, only have 1 copy right now, but trying it out, is target 1 zombie monster you control with 2,000 or less attack. It can attack your opponent directly this turn. So there's a couple ways. Obviously, just monsters with 2,000 or less. We have a lot of those that are zombie. If you were trying to get the Card Trooper more specifically, you could throw in Zombie World, DNA Surgery, stuff like that to make other monsters into zombies to maybe work well with this card more specifically if you had more of them. Another way you could maybe do it is if you have King of the Skull Servants real early, you could summon him, get him out, use Overpowering Eye when he has less than 2,000, then maybe pop off and get a couple extra, cards into the grave, because his attack doesn't have to stay at less than 2,000. So you can get that, maybe he has 1,000 or 2,000, and, you only have 2 in the grave. You use this, and then you get some more in the grave, boost them up, attack for an OTK maybe. But like I said, it's just some extra sauce in the deck, working on those kind of zombie direct attack plays, and I feel like this is fun for it, especially with Infected Mail sending them to the graveyard to maybe get some more effects off. Next, we have Symbol of Heritage. We're running this at 2. It is, you can activate this card while there are 3 monsters with the same name in your graveyard. Select one of them and special summon it to your side of the field and equip it with this card. When this card is destroyed, destroy the equipped monster. So, since they're all going to be named Skull Servant in the graveyard, we can pop this off multiple times in 1 turn, because, it's not once per turn. And we could bring out a bunch of monsters, especially, some different weird plays, and it would work good if you had 3 King of the Skull Servants in your graveyard as well. So, I figure that works in. Another little piece that's very similar. Monster Reincarnation. Discard 1 card from your hand and add 1 monster card from your graveyard to your hand. So some of them are popping off effects once they are in your hand and you discard. So you can basically discard 1 Skull Servant-y monster to get its graveyard effects, add 1 that you can use some hand effects to get it back in the graveyard, do more stuff. So I figure it kind of works in, it techs out, and it's, it's fun. Of course, like I said, if you have any upgrades for this deck or any ideas, let me know in the comments. Next, we just have 1 copy of Card Destruction. I figure if you could kind of go off with some plays, have a bunch of Skull Servants in your hand, or maybe you need a kind of a reset or something, you can Card Destruct, maybe get a bunch more effects off, and then get some more stuff in your hand. And of course, it can interfere with a lot of, opponents' plays. Next, another one-off that's just kind of fun sauce is Pyramid of Wonders. Figured it's kind of like the Pyramid of Light, but it's, it's like for zombies and it's weird. It is all zombie monsters you control gain 200 attack for each monster your opponent controls. And if exactly 1 zombie monster you control and no other cards would be destroyed, you can send this card to the graveyard instead. So I figured it's a little bit of weird protection. It's a little bit of a boost, I thought it was fun to throw in. Obviously, in the future, I'd probably replace that, depending on how the plays of the deck kind of, function out. Next, we have Zombie Reborn. I threw this in just because I figure with the kind of lack of King of the Skull Servants, we need some ways to get him back. So we can get him back from the graveyard. We can get him out of the deck relatively easily. But I figured if he got banished, we can use something like this to hopefully bring him back. Or something else. Next, we have Forbidden Dress. Target one face-up monster on the field until the end of this turn. Loses 600 attack, but it cannot be targeted or destroyed by other card effects. Some more protection for our King of the Skull Servants to hopefully keep him out. Maybe one more turn or something. Next, we got Double Summon. Some of those plays, they have to be on the field, or we're just popping off, getting rid of stuff, doing different plays. Double Summon helps out. Mage Power, I threw in. And you could replace this with a lot, but I figured if we get some good direct attacks kind of lined up, drop a Mage Power, and maybe go for some extra damage. Of course, that could go on pretty much anything. Then we threw in a Foolish Burial. Great way to get, whatever you need in the graveyard to extend those plays, get a combo off. And then a Monster Reborn, of course. Like I said, there's a lot of tech that can be done for that aspect as well of the spells. Lastly, for traps, we just have a Divine Wrath, a classic card that I love. When a monster effect is activated, discard one card, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that monster. I figure with the, the Skull Servant-y plays, yeah, you are kind of going, you're minus a bit on that stuff, but it is, discarding, getting their effects off, while also kind of doing something else. So I figured it works out in the deck. Moving into the extra deck, we don't really have too much sauce in here. I don't have a lot of zombie extra deck stuff, let alone at all, in here at the moment. I know I have some around, but we're kind of figuring it out. For now, I just have some generic-y kind of level 1 Lynx. And this dude is 2 monsters with the same type, but a Link 3. Or not Lynx, XZ, sorry. Level 1 XZs. But these guys aren't too special, you know what I mean? They're just kind of some knockoff-y stuff to maybe just get monsters quickly off the field, or to cover up, like this guy is basically a stall piece. It's unaffected by other card effects. Once per turn, quick effect, you can detach 2 materials from this card. For the rest of this turn, you cannot be destroyed by battle, or this card cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, you take no battle damage. So I figured you could go into 2 Skull Servant-y level 1 dudes, pop off, get them in the graveyard, and then, bring out with some more King of Skull Servants or whatever and do some stuff. It's basically just an extra deck Wabaku. The rest are, just kind of generic-y stuff. Nothing too special. Like I said, I can just kind of run through them if you want to kind of read them off. I'm not too excited about what's in the extra deck so far, but I have been just kind of focused on the main deck plays, trying to figure it out, get it more together. Like I said, if you have any suggestions, I know there's some Light Sworn plays that could go really well with the deck. I am just trying out different stuff with the direct attacks. Let me know if there's any other pieces I could maybe throw in. I know there's like Passage to the Hidden Treasure or whatever, and I think that's monsters with 1,000 or less attack can attack directly, which can be used. It could be popped off maybe. Let me know if you have any other ideas. Of course, make sure to check out my other deck profiles. I make them pretty often, as well as, pack openings, Yu-Gi-Oh! DIY projects. So, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Almost at 750. We're moving up pretty quick, and I appreciate the love from the community. And make sure to hit that little notification bell so you know when future content's coming out. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Peace. What's good, YouTube, and welcome to another KaibaHacksDartz Yu-Gi-Oh! Video. Today we're coming at you with another deck list, deck profile, deck update, whatever you like to call it. And this is our Watt deck / direct attack deck for November 2024. Now, I did do my previous profile on this a while back, and we kind of headed more in the Watt direction, but there's lots of ways to take a direct attack deck. And if you know me, this is some of my favorite kind of monster, kind of gimmick is direct attack. So we'll get straight into it. Of course, I say it's kind of Watty because there is a lot of Watt plays in here, but it can be varied up. Of course, we got 3 Watt Giraffe. It's a very good card. This card can attack your opponent directly. When this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent by a direct attack, your opponent cannot activate spells, traps, spell/trap effects, or monster card effects until the end phase of this turn. So this is a great little combo piece when you're trying to do big damage. You got 2 monsters out on the field. Usually people aren't reading your cards. And what you can do is boost up something else, maybe with a Mage Power, Psychic Blade, whatever card you choose to use, and then attack with this first, get its attack through, and then with your second monster that they would probably use something to stop, you can now get through because they can't activate anything until the end of your turn. So he's a great little piece. Next, we got 3 Watt Cobra. This is another great piece. It can attack directly as well. It's got 1,000 attack. And when it inflicts damage by a direct attack, you can add 1 Watt monster from your deck to your hand. So one combo you can kind of do that I don't have in the deck is maybe get Arrive Arrivals going, so you can just bring out that monster as soon as you get it. Because, of course, Arrive Arrivals is a quick play spell. But, of course, this is nice to bring out. It's good to have and just keep bringing it, get extra monsters in your hand for future plays or for some of the other stuff that we have in the deck. One of the newer cards here that we got is Watt Tuna. Now, this is just a great piece. This card can attack directly, and you can only use each of the following effects of Watt Tuna once per turn. At the end of the damage step, if your monster inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can special summon this card from your hand. So you can maybe use it with a combo of course, Watt Cobra, and if you had something else, you could bring it out and then go in again, or maybe if you had something to attack twice with Watt Cobra, different combos. But what you want to do is special summon this card from your hand, and when this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent by a direct attack, you contribute this card on the field and one or more non-tuner monsters from your hand and or face-up field, and special summon 1 Watt Synchro monster from your extra deck whose levels are equal to the total levels. So this is a great play to get into the Watt Synchro monsters that can attack directly, so you can just keep extending those direct attack plays. And of course, monsters from the hand, so another thing you could use Watt Cobra for, to get a monster for that, if you didn't want to get rid of the Watt Cobra on field, or whatever you have on field. So he's a great little piece. Next, we are running 2 Goblin Black Ops. This is just one of your heavy hitters, you know. Goblin Black Ops can attack directly, and if it does, it's changed to defense position at the end of the battle phase. Now, one combo you can kind of do is there's Watt Pheasant, and it can attack directly, and when it does, it can remove from play 1 monster until the end phase. So you can set up kind of a combo where you attack with Goblin Black Ops and have it get rid of him, and then you can bring him back. But it's almost better to have him go into defense, because then that way he can't be hit. But of course it is until the turn after it's happened, until your next turn. Next, we got 2 Marshmallow. Some of these last little monsters can be easily swapped out. I just have these in for more stall piece / a little bit of burn damage. It's just 1,000 when he gets attacked face down. We have a Rainbow Karibo. When an opponent's monster declares attack, you can equip this, and it can't attack. You can equip it from your hand. And when an opponent's monster declares an attack while this card's in the graveyard, you can special summon this card but banish it when it leaves the field. Not the best play, but it's just something I have in there in lieu of maybe another Battle Fader, which is, of course, just more stall pieces. Because a lot of the time you can, since you're going in for that direct attack damage, it doesn't really matter what they have on their field too much. So if you can just stall out for 1 more turn, you can maybe go in with another Watt combo or some of the equipped plays. But that wraps up the monsters. Next, for some more newer stuff, we got the Watt Kingdom. And this is a great little piece. It's your opponent cannot activate the effects of a monster that activate when it is normal or special summoned while it is in the same column as this card or a Watt monster you control. So that can be a pretty decent spread, and it can shut down a lot of stuff. And you can target one Watt monster you control and special summon 1 Watt monster with a different name from your deck. Then you lose life points equal to its attack. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest of this turn except Thunder monsters. So, of course, it locks you into the more Watty stuff, but that's okay because we don't really do much other special summoning, at least with this particular setup. But you can always get, like, Spell Striker and stuff in there if you're trying to get some other special summons, plus some other cards I'll show at the end. We got 2 Mage Power. Of course, this is just a great little way to boost your monsters, plus we get a lot of traps and other spells and such, so it can get up to pretty high stuff. Another cool little combo you can do is if you have a field spell. We used to have the Seal of Orichalcos before we added some extra deck monsters, but if you have a field spell, that can actually count towards the spell and trap as well, so you can get the 25 that you get from your main 5, plus up to 3,000 from your field spell, which a lot of people don't really think about. So it's another decent little boost. Psychic Blade, thinking about trading out or trying out some different stuff, because there is a card that's like You can give, I think it's a normal summon monster, 1500 attack or something. It's just a one-time spell card. I don't know if it was a normal summon to 100% or not, but there is other cards to get good attack, and this can be a little bit damaging in the life points, which is kind of clashing with the Watt Kingdom a bit. But it is still a good way to get up some damage and to kind of hit a particular amount of damage, because you can choose in values of 100. Next, we got, One United We Stand. This is just, it can be traded out for, of course, some of the other equips or whatever stuff. I like to try it, but you don't usually have too many monsters on the field at once. If it was a bit more monster kind of spammy, or if you were maybe using Scapegoat or something like that, you could combo, so you have a lot of stall power, plus United We Stand. There's a lot of ways to take it. We're running 2 swords. I'd recommend maybe Wabaku, or, anything pretty much better. This is just some stall power in lieu of, trying to find something a little bit better, and we're just kind of working on the ratios of plays. And for some of our one-offs, we got the Harpy's Feather Duster, a Monster Reborn, and a Raigeki. Of course, for the less common stuff, you could just throw in, something, a Torrential Tribute, Dark Hole if you want, or just more equipped stuff. Lots of different ways to take that. Moving into the traps, we have 3 Storming Mirror Force. I use a lot of different Mirror Forces just for monster removal and such, and of course you can switch it out for Quaking, Drowning, try them in different ratios, as well as maybe singular hits like Compulse and stuff like that. But the Storming, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, return all your opponent's monsters, attack position monsters to the hand. So this can be pretty good, because a lot of the time they might have effects going off in the graveyard, so it's a good little alternative. Next, we're running 3 Blazing. I'd recommend maybe taking this down to 2, just because you don't want to, you maybe don't want to see 2 of them. And also, like I said, it can clash with the Psychic Blade, as well as the Watt Kingdom plays. But it's when an opponent's monster declares an attack, destroy as many attack position monsters your opponent controls as possible, and if you do, take damage equal to half the combined original attack of all those monsters and that were destroyed, and then inflict that damage to your opponent. So obviously, if it's enough to kill you, you're going to die first. But you got to work with that stuff, but it's a great little burn damage card. And plus just monster removal, plus it kind of fits the spam we have going of the Mirror Forces. And we have, like I was saying, 2 more normal Mirror Forces, just destroys attack position monsters when they declare an attack. Classic stuff. A lot of this can be swapped out for different removal and a lot of different tech, and of course open to suggestions. We got the Compulse, remove or send one back to hand. A Magic Cylinder, just to kind of go with the burn damage. Some good timed stuff. You could maybe hit a Blazing and then hit one of these and get game. Next, a Ring of Destruction. Same kind of techniques. Some removal / some good damage. Lastly, a Divine Wrath. This could be switched out for anything. Just kind of a nice little tech piece, and I love this card. It's an old classic. But you discard 1 card from hand and negate the activation of an effect monster's effect, and destroy that effect monster. Obviously, the Solemns and stuff like that, this is kind of the fill-in for that, because we don't want to be using life points as much. And that's pretty much the main run-through of the deck. Like I said, we do have a little bit of extra deck sauce. It's just the Watt Kayuki, but this is a pretty good play. There is 2 other Watt extra deck monsters that can attack directly, and you definitely want to get those just because of how they pop off with this. As you can see, he's got 1600 attack, which isn't the best, but if you're already popping off with like a Watt Cobra and the Tuna, you're hitting for 1800 probably already then, if you're not boosting. Then another 1600 for him, because he can attack directly. And when this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent by a direct attack, you can shuffle both 1 Watt Tuner from your graveyard and 1 face-up non-tuner Thunder monster you control into the deck. And if you do, special summon 1 Watt Synchro monster from your extra deck. So, if you got the plays lined up and, the right stuff going, you can bring out another Watt Synchro in that same battle phase and hit again and get that damage up even higher. So there's a lot of crazy plays you can go off with the Watt kind of direct attack stuff. And I think mixing it with the sauce of some of the classic-y stuff really helps improve it. And there's still a lot of work room. So like I said, give me suggestions. Tell me what you want to see in the deck or what different alleys I could take, alleyways, routes. Some other cards I was thinking about throwing in the deck or working with is Red-Haired Hasty Horse. If there's no cards, or if there's a column with no cards, you can special summon this card from your hand in attack position to that zone in that column. And you can only special summon him once per, or Red-Haired Hasty Horse once per turn. And if this card is, if another card is placed in that card's column, destroy this card. But once per turn, you can have this card's original attack. And for the rest of the turn, if you do, it can attack directly. So he could just be another way to get in an easy 1,000. Yeah, he's removable really quickly, but that's kind of almost good because if they're attacking into it, you could just get rid of him and, you know, you don't have to worry about it. Or you could just keep him out and keep popping into it. So there's a lot of potential with him. Another card I really like, and I do want to tech into the deck, I just, you know, haven't got it into there yet, is the Altergeist Maluseek. It's got kind of lower attack, but it can attack directly, and when it does, you can target one card your opponent controls and send it to the graveyard. So, that's a nice little play, and if you're working with some of the other Altergeist stuff, his other effect kind of comes in, but it's not that big of a deal, but he is great removal, working with the direct attack stuff, especially if you're popping with a lot of equip cards and stuff, because he'll get that boost for attack. Another newer card I want to work in is the Altergeist Penetrator. Very similar. He can attack directly as the Maluseek, but instead of sending a card to the graveyard from your opponent's controls, you get to draw one card. So it depends what kind of strategies you're taking. These can work for different routes. You know, if you're trying to maybe get quick play spells in your battle phase, so that do, you know, increase your attack. So you could attack with Altergeist Penetrator, or maybe Arrivals. You know, you're drawing into stuff that you can use in the battle phase to maybe get more attack on something else. Maybe get a second attack off. Who knows what kind of stuff you could tech into. But those are some of the extra ideas I'm working on saucing into the deck. And I do want to do more improvements on this one every once in a while, because it is one of my more favorite decks. I have explained, you know, this was kind of my original ideas when I was running like Rainbow Flower and stuff like that, and like Jinzo number 7s way back in the day. Not knowing how to really put a deck together, but knowing direct attack is pretty powerful, you know, and you can just kind of pass through all their monsters. So there is a lot of potential here, and like I said, let me know if you have any suggestions for the deck. Of course, I got to get more Watt Synchros and such, but let me know what you think could be added. Make sure to check out my other deck profiles. I also do Yu-Gi-Oh! DIY content, you know, recreating dungeon dice monsters, how to make dice, you know, dice towers, how to make ghost foil rares, ghost rare cards, sorry. Lots of stuff like that, as well as other Yu-Gi-Oh! Content, so I recommend you check that stuff out. I also recommend, you know, like, share, and subscribe. If you like this stuff, leave a comment. Hit that little notification bell so you know when future content's coming out, because we do deck profiles and other videos pretty consistently. So like I said, make sure to check that out. Let me know if you have any suggestions for the deck, or any other ideas for future deck profiles, deck updates, deck lists, whatever you like to call them. And otherwise, thanks for watching. Peace. What's good, YouTube, and welcome to another KaibaHacksDartz Yu-Gi-Oh! Video. Today we're coming at you with another deck list, deck profile, deck update, and this is our weather report deck for November 2024. If you don't know weather report, it's a pretty wicked little card here. It's got a weird little effect. You know, it's pretty gimmicky, but I'm trying to make it work with some decks in you know, tournament play, you know, try and make weather report meta. Let's see if we can do it. And of course, this deck's a work in progress. So if you're enjoying it, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that little notification bell so you know when future videos are coming out. That way you can stay informed when more updates come for this deck, as well as other ones. And what the weather report deck does here is kind of try and get weather report's effect off. He is a flip monster, and what it does is destroys all your opponent's face-up Swords of Revealing Light on the field. If Swords of Revealing Light is destroyed, you can perform your battle phase twice this turn, or your next turn if it's activated on your opponent's turn. So, of course, how are we going to do this? Well, we'll kind of get into the deck, but we're running 3 of this guy. And there's a lot of different strats I have in mind. And like I said, this deck's a work in progress. So we're taking it step by step. First, we don't really have an extra deck plotted out too hard. So what we're going to do is kind of start with some non-extra decky stuff. I figured this is a good way to kind of show off some non-extra decky stuff, if that's the kind of deck you're running. And if not, we'll probably change it up in the future or try some different stuff out as we go. But Eater of Millions, what he does is cannot be normal summon / set, must be special summoned from your hand by banishing 5 or more cards from your hand, field, and or extra deck face down. It cannot be special summoned by other ways. This card gains 100 attack, and defense for each face down banished card, and this face up card on the field cannot be tributed nor used as a material for a fusion synchro XZ summon. Once per turn, at the start of the damage step, if this card battles an opponent's monster, you can banish that opponent's monster face down. So he's some great little removal, plus he's kind of a defensive piece possibly, but we also have kind of another use for him in the deck later. And like I said, we're not using the extra deck so far yet, so we're just going to fill it up with random monsters so we can activate effects like this. So we're running 3 of him. What I'd like to do is get more direct attack kind of plays. I do have them kind of tied up in my Watt direct attack deck at the moment. So we have some of the extra sauce in here for the moment. Plus we might change up the plays a little bit. So we got Watt Pheasant at 2 here. So this card can attack your opponent directly. When this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent by a direct attack, select one face-up monster on the field and remove it from play until the end phase of this turn. So we're just kind of using it for the direct attack, 1000 damage. But it can also kind of come in handy if they have an XYZ monster on the field, XYZ. You know, you can remove it and get rid of its material. Next, we are running 3 Drill Barnacle. Like I said, this is kind of the bottom barrel-y extra sauce, but it does kind of fit in slightly into the terms of the deck and what we're doing. So I'm kind of working with it. But it is the Drill Barnacle. He can attack your opponent directly. Each time he does, inflict battle damage to your opponent by a direct attack, this card can gains 1000 attack. So if you can keep him out, you can build him up pretty high. So he might be a strategical piece. We haven't really tested out this deck too hard. It's just kind of like I said, a work in progress. And we have to kind of be careful on how we run it because it is a bit of a surprise deck with the weather report kind of stuff. So we have the Rapid Warrior. And we're running him at 1, but possibly could run him at more. It is during your main phase 1, you can activate this card's effect, and if you do, it can attack your opponent directly this turn, and other monsters can attack during the turn you activate this effect. So another just direct attack piece. And like I said, it's kind of a weird card, so it fits into the kind of sauce that we have. Neospatian Grand Mole at 1. This is just to put stuff back in your opponent's hand. Another kind of piece of the puzzle that we're constructing here with the weird plays. But that concludes the monsters themselves. Like I said, what we're trying to do is kind of first focus the weather report kind of stuff, and then get to the kind of win condition that we want to pull off, depending on whatever that would be once we get there. But for spells, we're running 3 Gold Moon Coin, and this is where the plays kind of start to go off with weather report. Of course, we have 3 Swords of Revealing Light in the deck, and with cards like Gold Moon Coin and some others that we'll look at, you can put that swords into your opponent's hand in hopes that they'll activate it, so then you can then use your weather report. And with the weird kind of stuff that goes on with this, of course, it works better in Master Duel. So if I recommend, of course, testing it out in Master Duel and stuff first, which is where I'm going to be testing it mostly, just because if you're going to bring it to a tournament, you don't want people to know that you have weather report or that you're doing this weird strat, because if they get swords, they're not going to use it. So you basically only have 1 shot. That's why if you're in a match duel, like in a tournament, you're going to be facing them twice. So you almost need to make a direct attack deck with the weather report stuff or whatever play, so you have that win condition, so you can try and win once without weather report, and then the second time hit with your weather report plays. You know what I mean? It's very strange how this deck is going to have to work, and that's why I kind of want to make it and see if I can get it to work. But this card is add 2 cards from your hand to your opponent's hand, then draw 2 cards. So of course it's some draw power, but it's a way to put swords into their hand, possibly something else too, whatever you're trying to do. We kind of stayed on that one for a bit. But next we have Exchange. Now, of course, this one's just an absolute classic. Both players, oh, here, I'll go into the easier, short-formed one. That's the old magic card one, and you can see the text is a lot longer. We'll simplify it. Both players reveal their hands and add one card from each other's hand to their hand. So, of course, we can do some weird kind of stuff with this, where we're, getting them to have Swords of Revealing Light, and we're possibly getting something from their hand to stop their plays. But we can, try and do some wacky stuff like that. And then with some of the other combos, we can maybe set up getting important cards in their hand, and then using this to take what we want. There is a lot of weird plays, but of course, this is to get swords in their hand. So one of the other secondary focuses really is putting kind of crap cards in their hand and taking their good cards. This one I really like, and I think it's one of the weird kind of special plays of the deck, Gift Exchange. What it is both players banish one card from their decks face down, and if they do during the end phase of this turn, both players add to their hands, the card their opponent banished by this effect. So basically, both players are banishing one card from their own deck, and then at the end of the end phase, both players give that card to their opponent. So what I can do is banish swords, of course, and then it doesn't really matter what they banish. It'll probably be something non-integral to their deck if they can try. But they'll end up with swords, and I'll end up with their non-integral piece, or whatever piece they happen to give me. But this is a direct way to get swords out of your deck into their hand. So it is a pretty decent little piece. The only thing is that obviously it's at the end phase of the turn. So you got to work with it a bit. But I do like how it sauces up. And of course, like I've said with a lot of the stuff, the monsters are a little less effective, and they only kind of work for us. And then we also have Neospace and Grammole to get monsters in their hand to take from them if it's something integral, stuff like that, or like Rapid Warrior. They don't want that because they'll probably have other monsters on the field and they can't direct attack with Rapid Warrior. We basically have crap cards that they can't use effectively against us because we're going to be giving them cards all the time and taking their cards. So Swords of Revealing Light, you know what it does, stops 3 turns of attacks, but we're going to be mostly using it with the Weather Report. But, well, I don't know about mostly, that's our integral use for it. But of course, you can use it for defensive plays, and then we also have a little bit extra sauce to work with it. Now, this is another weird little one that I think kind of fits in. Excuse me. Margin trading. It is, your opponent can discard one card to negate this effect. Otherwise, both players look at their opponent's decks and choose one card. Then add the card from their own deck chosen by their opponent to their hand. So, you're basically looking through their deck and giving them one card from their deck to their hand. And they're doing the same for you. Or they can, discard one card to negate it. But what you could maybe pop off with this is activate it. You look through their deck, they maybe got Raigeki or Harpy's Feather Duster, or a combo piece that is very integral that is maybe limited to 1, or something like that. Also, it just helps you could get to look through their entire deck, so you know what I mean. You get to learn their plays a little bit. But what you can do, obviously add that card to their hand, Raigeki, whatever, and then you can use Exchange to take that Raigeki out of their hand. So you can kind of line up plays, or you can hope that they're just going to add something weird and stupid. They might look through your deck and just see, something random and add it to your hand. Or it could be that everything in your deck is already kind of integral. Or it just leads to them, discarding one card. So, furthermore, since we don't have an extra deck, we're running 2 Pot of Duality. This way we can kind of get into some more specific stuff, and we're not special summoning really at all. So, obviously, it's excavate the top 3 cards of your deck and add one of them to your hand. Also that, shuffle the rest of your deck. You can only activate 1 Pot of Duality per turn. So you're just looking at 3 cards, picking one. It helps to kind of get the specific plays you maybe want out. Next, a Pot of Extravagance. Like I said, again, we're not using our extra deck, so we just fill it with random stuff to be used as fodder for the Eater of Millions and such in the Pot of Extravagance. This way we can draw into some cards. It's at the start of your main phase. Banish 3 to 6 random face down cards from your extra deck. Face down, draw 1 card for every 3 cards banished for the rest of this turn. After this card resolves, you cannot draw any cards by effects. So we can use this with Pot of Duality because it's excavating top 3 cards and adding one of them. So you could combine this with the Pot of Duality to get, more draw power. But also, if you add these cards to their hand, they might not be able to use the Pot of Duality because they want to be able to special summon. Or the Pot of Extravagance they might not want to use because it might banish some of their key pieces. So we have a lot of stuff that if it ends up in their hands, they either can't use it or it's not really effective. Next, we have the Seal of Orichalcos. Another thing for, non-special or non-extra deck kind of decks. And of course, it's all monsters you control gain 500 attack, so that gives a boost to our direct attacky stuff, even though we got to kind of up that. And it's once per turn if this card cannot be destroyed by card effects. And while you control 2 or more face-up attack position monsters, your opponent cannot target your monsters with the lowest attacks for an attack. And when this card is activated, destroy all special summon monsters you control. You cannot special summon monsters from your extra deck. So like I said, it kind of locks you at an extra deck, but we're not using the extra deck for summoning. Next, we got Magical Mallet. Add any number of cards from your hand to the deck and shuffle it, then draw the same number of cards. So this is just to, once again, kind of switch out stuff. This way we can, if we need to get rid of stuff for maybe exchange or whatever, instead of setting it, we can switch it out for some garbage that we could throw into their hand. It won't be as effective. Same with Card Trader. It's just once per turn. During your standby phase, you can shuffle 1 card from your hand into the deck, then draw 1 card. Some swappy kind of switch out power. And then a Monster Reborn, just kind of in lieu of having more direct attack monsters. Moving into the traps, running 3 Gravel Storm. And I figure this is another great thing, put cards in their hand that we can maybe steal and use. And or possibly recycle our Swords of Revealing Light to be used for some more turns. Kind of like back in the day when you do like Giant Trunade and recycle cards. So we were hopefully using it for that recycle power, kind of that send-off power. Who knows what cards they might be trying to activate when and where. And if we're looking at their hand, we'll know what they have. So there's lots of times where this can be coming in useful. But of course, a lot of this stuff can be traded out. And I want to know upgrades. Of course, any ideas you have for the deck, because it's a huge work in progress, especially with the kind of downgrade of having it in a match and has to be a surprise. But that's why I kind of want to work with it. Next, we're throwing in some of that classic defense sauce, some Drowning Mirror Force. And this is just to shuffle their monsters back into the deck so we can maybe have another crack at taking them. But of course, you could put in Mirror Force or anything like that. These were just kind of some extra sauce I had lying around. Figured I'd throw it in. Quaking Mirror Force. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, change all your opponent's monsters to face down defense position. This doesn't really matter because, of course, we're going to be direct attacking right over their monsters or sending them back to their hand. But, of course, this can stall up their field, hold it down a bit. Some great little sauce. Lastly, we have Banquet of Millions. Banish any number of cards from your extra deck face down, and banish the same number of random face down cards from your opponent's extra deck face up until the end phase. So, if you get this, maybe on first turn, and then going into second turn, you activate this, and you can just clear out your extra deck and stop them from doing any extra deck plays, and then maybe you're set up to go in for your next turn pretty hard. So I figure it can line up with the kind of the plays we have going at least now. I'd maybe get more of them in the future if I was gonna kind of continue with this play so it was more consistent, so you could maybe get that big hit off every time. I'm sorry. Some kind of secondary ideas. What I was floating around is maybe just like holding legs. Same thing as the the Gravel Storm, except it's a monster. Plus it's got a little bit extra sauce. Present card. I was thinking of maybe, getting some of that like hand destruction, so you're just kind of running through their deck, kind of make it a mill kind of thing. I don't know yet. This Split Mirrors of the Underworld is a very weird kind of techie piece. I won't exactly read off its full stuff, but it is if you take effect damage, basically, inflict double the damage you took to your opponent. So basically what you would do is maybe line up some magic cylinders, and then also have 3 copies of this or ways to search it. So they're attacking, or no, you're attacking them. They're activating a magic cylinder that you added to their hand or traded to them. And then you're activating this to take advantage of that magic cylinder to do double the damage back to them. So that's something I was thinking of maybe adding in if I get more copies. And then maybe just more sauce, like Electromagnetic Turtle, Battle Fader, for some stall power that can end battle phase. But there's a lot of weird potential for this deck. And of course, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I do want to make this into something fun, at least. I know it'll never be, like, super competitive. I'm not crazy, but, I'll make it as competitive as it can be and keep trying to, push the Yu-Gi-Oh! Limits and see what we can come up with for the weather report. Like I said, if you have any cool ideas or any sauce you think could be fun in the deck, let me know in the comments. Make sure to check out the other deck profiles. We do this pretty often with different decks. Of course, more mainstream stuff and gimmicky stuff. We switch it up. We also do Yu-Gi-Oh! DIY projects, pack openings, all different kinds of Yu-Gi-Oh! Content. So like I said, if you like, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that little notification bell so you know when future stuff's coming out. And otherwise, thanks for watching. Peace. What's good, YouTube, and welcome to another KaibaHacksDartz Yu-Gi-Oh! Video. Today, we're here taking a look at another deck profile, deck list for the Wicked Gods, May 2024. And the Wicked Gods, if you don't know what they are retrains of the Wicked God, or the God cards. You got Slifer, the Winged Dragon of Raw Sphere Mode, and Obelisk the Tormentor. Except they're not divine, they are Dark Fiend monsters. And, they have some weird abilities to them for sure. And that's why I want to make a deck out of them. I think they're pretty cool for what they are. They're not the strongest, best monsters in the game, and they can be a little bit clunky. But I'm still working on the deck, and it is coming along slowly, and it's pretty successful. So, with the Wicked Avatar, probably the best out of the three. Close contention with the Wicked Eraser. Dreadroot is probably a tier under them for sure. But they all have the same effect where they can't be special summoned and must be normal summoned by attributing 3 monsters, like the God cards. And this one specifically is, if this card is normal summoned, your opponent cannot activate spell or trap cards until the end of the second turn after this card's activation. So, once he's normal summoned, they can't basically do anything. It's kind of like a Swords of Revealing Light for spells and traps. And also, this card's attack and defense are equal to the highest attack on the field, other than the Wicked Eraser, or the Wicked Avatar, sorry. Plus 100. So he's always going to be stronger than whatever you're trying to go against. Plus he's going to have that bonus. The only thing is, when they have nothing on their field, and this is the only thing you have on your field, he's only going to have that 100. Other than that, pretty good. Next, we have 2 of the Wicked Eraser. And same thing with the summoning. But this card's attack and defense are equal to the number of cards your opponent controls times 1,000. And during your main phase, you can destroy this card. And if this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, it destroys all cards on the field. So, like the name implies, he just erases everything. You can clear out basically whatever. And, it also still can have some decent attack, depending on what they control. Next, with Dreadroot, the Wicked Dreadroot, we got 2 of them. Cannot be special summoned, must be normal summoned by 3 monsters, tributing 3. And the attack of all other, and defense of all other monsters on the field are halved. So nothing too special. That's why I said he's not the greatest, but he still does look pretty awesome. And it is the Wicked Gods deck, so we need to have at least one of them in there. And I'm just trying out 2. Next, we got Gap the Divine Soldier. All monsters are changed to face-up attack, and their defense position, or their battle positions, cannot be changed, and flip effects are not activated. Once per turn, you can reveal any number of Fiend monsters in your hand to give this card 300 attack for each card revealed. So, in the manga, he does go in with their archetype. He's kind of, like their little defender, their soldier. And in the manga, it is just for the Wicked Gods. We got it a little bit lucky. He works with all Fiend monsters, so you could even reveal other Gap the Divine Soldiers to boost him up. But we just have one of him in here for, you know, the jokesy purposes. Next, we got Divine Serpent Ge. He just kind of fits in with the false gods, the knockoffy gods kind of strat we're doing. And I'm not going to read off his effect, but, you know, he's got a lot of different things that you can do. And he's good for just kind of stalling out or getting some big hits in. Next, we got 3 Arma the Wicked Warden. This card works really well with Layer of Darkness and, you know, the effect to get out those tokens and stuff. And you can discard this card, add 1 Layer of Darkness from your deck to your hand. And if you contribute 1 dark monster and draw 1 card, or if you tribute a dark monster other than this card to activate this effect, you can add 1 dark monster with 2,000 or more defense from your deck to hand. So obviously with that, you could bring out Dreadroot, and you know, it's a quick way to get him into your hand. Other than that, you know, you could maybe be oh no, it works with Gap too. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking there was something else that works with this. So you could bring a Gap too and get him into your hand. Same thing with the, you know, just to draw a card, but it works with Layer of Darkness real well to, you know, just to pop whatever on their field. Scapegoat is our next card. 3 of them. Flip, you can special summon any number of Black Sheep tokens. You know, some tribute fodder for the Wicked Gods. Kind of organize our cards here. Next, we got 3 Tellus the Little Angel. Basically, what he does is, if this card is sent from the monster zone to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 Tellus Wing token. And then while you control a Tellus Wing token, you can banish this card from your graveyard and 1 spell from your hand, and special summon 2 Tellus Wing tokens, and you can't special summon for the rest of the turn other than from your hand. So what basically, you know, you're going to pull off is, well, you're going to attempt to pull off, is let this thing get hit, get a token out there, get the token to your next turn, and then you're going to try and banish him, get rid of that spell, get 2 more, and then you can go into a god, or a Wicked God. It's not the most successful too far yet, or the most strategically advanceable, but we're trying it out, and we you know, it might get swapped out in the future. But Angel 01, similar kind of stuff going on, not necessarily, but you can special summon this card from your hand by revealing 1 level 7 or higher monster, and you can only special summon 1 Angel 01 this way. Once per turn, sorry. While you control this special summon card, you can tribute summon 1 level 7 or higher monster in attack position during your main phase, in addition to your normal one. So it is another way to kind of bring out some, you know, extra stuff and try and get into that Wicked God quicker. Same with the Phantom Sky Blaster. Not going to read his effect. You should probably know what he does. Lastly, we just have some random stuff in here. We got the Calculator. And basically what he's in there is just because, you know, there's lots of high-level monsters, so he might get that high attack off. Maybe good with the Wicked Avatar, so they can both get that high attack as well. Like I said, it's just testing out different strats. Next, with the spells, we got 3 Divine Evolution. And this is God card support, but it does show the Wicked Dreadroot on there. That's like a shadowy kind of, you know, silhouetted Wicked Dreadroot. And it's this card's activation and effects cannot be negated. Choose 1 monster you control whose original type is Divine Beast, or one of the Wicked Gods, except a monster already affected by this card. And it gains 1,000 attack and defense, and its effect activations and its effects cannot be negated. Also, it gains the following effects. When this card declares an attack, you can make your opponent send 1 monster they control to the graveyard, their choice. So it is a good way to get some extra attack, get some stuff off the field. You know, it's just Wicked God support. Always subject for change, just pretty much like every card but the Wicked Gods in this deck. Next, we got 2 Layer of Darkness. This is to work with the Armas, of course, and to bring out some tokens for tributing. It is All face-up monsters on the field become dark, and once per turn, if you attribute a monster you control to activate a card effect, you contribute one dark monster your opponent controls, even though you don't control it. Once per turn during the end phase, special summon as many torment tokens up as possible up to the players to the turn player's field in defense position up to the number of monsters they tributed this turn while it was face up. So like I said, it's a good way to get out those tokens, but if they are attributing 2, they're going to get those tokens as well. So something to be mindful for. Next we got Mound of the Bound Creator. More kind of god card support, but does work with the Wicked Gods. And it's level 10 or higher monsters in the field cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects. If a level 10 or higher monster destroys a monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, the player controlled the destroyed monster takes 1,000. So you can get some damage in. And then also, if you're maybe running Sphere mode or actual god cards, you can search a divine monster from your deck to your hand. Sphere mode is another one of those things that I might throw in just to have that as kind of a lava golem kaiju situation to get some stuff off the field. Next we got 2 Allure of Darkness. Pretty classic, you draw 2 cards, remove from play 1 dark monster in your hand, and if you don't, your hand goes to the graveyard. But lots of dark monsters, so that is something we're working with as well. Next we got 1 Terraforming, just to search those field spells. Classic Change of Heart. If you got some token nonsense on the field, maybe just one of them, or you just want to swap for something. Oh no, not even. I was thinking of swapping, but this is slight. Yeah, you just take control of one of their monsters. Sorry, and yeah, it's good fodder, good tribute stuff. Or extra deck stuff. Same thing with Monster Born. Bring stuff back, tribute stuff off. Card advance, just some stuff to make it a little bit easier, hopefully, to get that summon off. And the Monarch Stormforth, same thing. Next we'll move into the traps. We got 3 back to the front. Target one monster in your graveyard, special summon in defense position. These are great because, it's not like Call of the Haunted where it kind of has to stay in the field. You just bring them back out. They're in defensive position, so they're not going to get attacked, and, you're not going to take fat damage unless they got piercing. So, it's pretty good. All subject for change, of course, though. Next, we got 3 Metal Reflect Slime. If you don't know what he does, classic just brings it a fat defense wall, basically. But that's not necessarily what we're using for. One, he is tribute fodder. But what he does bring out is the Egyptian God Slime. And this we can use as 3 tributes for our, our Wicked Gods. Or if not, his effect is pretty good just in general. So, same thing with them. I don't have any Guardian Slimes yet, but they would definitely be a great addition to the deck. Something I'll have in the future. That is all of the traps, though. Next, we'll extra deck it. We got 3 Egyptian God Slimes, and it's 1 Aqua Monster plus 1 level 10 Water Monster. But it can either be fusion summoned or special summoned from your extra deck by tributing 1 level 10 Aqua Monster with 0 attack. So this card can be treated as 1 or 3 tributes from the tribute summon of a monster, or 1 or 3, so you can get them off with 1 or 3 if needed to be, and cannot be destroyed by battle. And your opponent's monsters cannot target for attacks, and your opponent cannot target with card effects any monsters you control except the God Slime. So he's basically, a wall. They got to get through him before they do anything else to any of your other monsters. And then he's just great to get into for the Wicked Gods. And like I said, you need either Metal Reflect Slime or the Guardian Slime to get into him as quick as possible. Next, we got 2 Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Gustav Maxes. And it's just once per turn you can detach 1 material from this card, inflict 2,000 to your opponent. And it's 2 level 10 monsters. The extra deck I haven't really filled out, but this is just I feel like a nice one. They are level 10. And if I did happen to get 2 out and just needed to get that little extra damage in, then bam, there you go. You could just, Xyz off, hit him for that 2. Next, we got an Underclock Taker. Simple, you know, just kind of classic extra deck stuff. Love me my Geonator Transverser. Great way to, you know, swap something that's maybe used up or not so good for something good on their side of the field. And it just works out well. Next, we got Proxy Dragon. Like I said, I just got a couple of random things in here, and that pretty much sums it up. I would throw in, you know, Decode Talker and some of the usual just kind of generic-y staples. But that pretty much sums up everything I have in the deck so far. Like I said, it's subject to a lot of change. I'm still working on a lot of different strategies to see what's working and what's not working. Trying to get for those like kind of first turn God bringouts, which isn't happening too successfully yet. I need like more token power, possibly, you know, scapegoat, stuff like that. Some other random cards that I just have been looking at, possible additions to the deck, is maybe the Caligo Clawcrow. You know, if you control a dark monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. So just an easy way to, you know, maybe extend some plays. Yugioh, I don't know how you say it exactly, but he's a fiend. Dark, and you know, during the battle step, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, gain 1,000 life points. So some other cards I'm looking at is Arrivals and stuff like that. So I was thinking maybe in the battle phase, quick effect, you special summon this guy, you get your attacks in, you Arrivals into a Wicked God, so then you're gaining 1,000, you're doing all the stuff you need to do. You can also tribute him off, quick effect, then target one face-up monster you control and it gains 1,000 until the end of the next turn. So he is just a weird card that kind of fits in. He's a fiend, you know, it's dark. Next is Tragodia, pretty generic-y kind of stuff, but just something I thought could maybe go in. It kind of fits with the Guardian Slimy, Divine Serpent Gek, kind of reactionary stuff. Plus, he's got that high level that the calculator could take advantage of. Another card we got is Luna the Dark Spirit. Cannot be normal summon / set. Must first be special summoned from your hand by banishing one dark monster in your graveyard. Lots of dark monsters, and then also once per turn during your standby phase, inflict 500 to your opponent. This one's just a kind of random one, but it is a fiend, you know, like I said, and it just works with that dark kind of stuff. It's almost like a Phantom Sky Blaster that's like crappier. And then free range monsters is kind of like Arrivals, except it doesn't have that quick play ability. But it is, you know, a trap card, so it's second turn-y kind of stuff, but I prefer the Arrivals probably. But, you know, it's something to work with. Like I said, that pretty much covers everything I have so far and all the ideas I'm kind of working with. Like a scapegoat and maybe free time passcode, whatever, one-time passcode, whatever it's called. That, you know, stuff like that where you can get tokens out easily and maybe, you know, use them for some plays or defensive stuff to get into those plays next turn. Wabaku, stuff like that. Other than that, let me know what you think, what cards you would add in if you're going to try and run this deck. It is a little bit different on Master Duel. If you want me to maybe drop a deck list for that in the comments or in the description, let me know. But you know, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Tell me how you felt about it. Check out my other videos. And make sure to hit that little notification bell so you know when new videos are coming out. And thanks for watching. Peace.